Good evening. My name is Joe Nebb. I'm the Laredo City Manager. I'll be facilitating the conversation tonight. We'll walk through a lot of different things. We're here to talk about the data centers. I'll explain why as we walk through that. I want to take a moment here though because Councilmember Vanessa Perez, District 7, this is one of her rec centers, and she wanted to make sure that she tells you how appreciative she is. So.
Thank you, Mr. Nebb. I want to welcome you all to District 7. I don't know if some of you have been here before, but welcome. Sorry about the AC situation. I guess they're not used to running it this late in the evening, but for those of you that have not been out here, I do want to welcome you all. And I just want you all to know that we are here to listen to your concerns. We know that there's a lot of people that are concerned for the environmental impacts and the resource consumption that data centers are going to require. And we know that with technology comes, problems that we are going to have to tackle. And so we just want you to know that we're not here in a defensive mode. We're not here to defend data centers in any way. We're here to listen, and we appreciate your time, and I want to thank you all for being here and standing up for the community.
Thank you. Okay. So for those of you that may have not been in a town hall meeting before and everything, it's a little bit different than a city council meeting, just so you know. The rules are a little bit different. Essentially, this is an opportunity where there's a dialogue back and forth. When you go to a council meeting, it's essentially public comments go out there. We're not supposed to interact. We're supposed to allow the public their 3 minutes. They cover what it is that's important to them, and then we move on to the next topic. And so the challenge with that is that a lot of you, when you come and speak at the city council meetings, you're wanting a conversation on both sides, and that's where it's very difficult within our structure to have those conversations. That's why the town halls work really, really well. And I'll be facilitating tonight. It's more, and I'll explain why in just a second here, but so we have elected officials in the room. I wanted to make sure you've already met Councilmember Perez. We'll introduce everybody else. I know the mayor is stuck on Mines Road traffic. We have to fix that road. And so we'll keep working on that. But I wanted to make sure that we introduce everybody here, because the good thing about a town hall meeting as well too is to have our elected officials listen to everybody here, regardless of what it is. We're a city of 260,000 in population. We have people that are on all sides of every point and every issue that's out there. And what I hope to do tonight is at least communicate back and forth on some of these things that have been talked about to some level at some point in time. We'll take questions from the floor. I'll bring the microphone around, and then if you have the question, if you have a comment, either one is good. But if you have a question, we'll try to answer it tonight. If we find a question that we can't answer, I will get you an answer.
And so, can we vote signs, please? Don't kick us out. Can we just vote signs?
What's that?
Can we vote signs? Don't kick us out.
The challenge we have with the signs is, of course, I love the size of them. So they're. Can we just? Can you just hold the signs down? I mean, I want to hear from you. I appreciate the signs and everything. We'll get a picture of them if nothing else. What I want to do is I want to hear from everybody your position.
Can you pass the signs around?
I'm sorry?
Can you pass the signs around? I want signs.
Well, it's if you didn't notice on the outside, look. All right, I'm going to break my protocol already. All right, hold on to your signs if that's what's comfortable. Hold on to them. All right. Now, let me go back to what I was trying to say as well too. We're a city of 260,000 in population. There are people on every side of every issue. We have 9 elected officials that sit behind that dais every day and try to make sense of all that information. My role as a city manager is to make sure that all the information gets on the table so it can be considered within the elected officials' decision-making process. We appreciate everybody's different positions on this thing, but the idea is that we are trying to walk through whatever that is to make the best decision for our city, best decision for our community. And so let me introduce the elected officials here. Where's? All right. I'll have Narita introduce everybody.
Welcome everyone, thank you all for being here. First and foremost, I want to introduce our Mayor Pro Tem and Council Member for District 1, Gilbert Gonzalez. Also with us is Council Member for District 2, Ricardo Richie Rangel. We already heard from her, but I will also, of course, mention her as well. Council Member for this district, District 7, Vanessa Perez. Council Member for District 8, Alisa Segarra. And we're very privileged to also have our State Representative, Richard Banger-Raymond. I know the mayor is on his way, he'll be here shortly as well, but I will pass it on to our City Manager, Mr. Joseph Knapp.
Okay, and we'll keep going. Thank you for all being here. They're looking forward to listening in on all the conversation. Know that it has an impact, that everybody's opinion has an impact with it. Mayor Dr. Trevino? Sir?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll get started. I just said that we'll hold all the elected officials' conversations until the end, and we're going to have the conversation on why we're here first, and then we'll come back, and then we'll let everybody wrap it up. What I anticipate tonight is about 2 hours, going from 6 to 8. We'll run 2 hours. If we run longer, that's okay. I've had 2-hour blocks on these things, and we ran 3 hours. So just so you know, happy to stay as long as you would like to, but I want to make sure that we have this communication within there. So the mayor's reason for setting up the town hall was for the city to prepare the standards of what is a data center. And I'll walk through all of that for that part, but understand that at the last council meeting, the directive for city management was develop out the standards. We talked a little bit, some of you that were in attendance heard what happened at the council meeting as well too. So let me go over some of that before we get into explaining what a data center is and what we're actually looking at. And does anybody want an explanation on what data centers are?
I think most of us know what a data center is.
Yes, sir.
And we have but we've been fed the wrong information, so I think we are here
Yes,
to
wonderful.
put it right.
All right, so everybody's comfortable with what a data center is? No? Okay. I know Ms. Carrera with planning and development, she did a good presentation as to what those data centers are as well too. So we'll go a little bit into that because I want to make sure you have a good understanding about what this term data center is and what other terms can be utilized rather than data center for it as well too, because as we develop out standards, we have to make sure that our standards are complete, that it's not just about data centers by itself, but it may be high intensity server rooms. It may be a lot of different things that happen within there, and so we have to build standards to that point. I'm going to talk about the moratoriums, I'm going to talk about bans, I'm going to talk about all those different things and why some of these things are challenging. I saw a couple signs out there about water. I'm happy to talk about any of that stuff there, and we'll walk through every piece, but Vanessa, if you could, maybe come up and we'll move through the presentation quickly. I will do that because I think the big thing is you had a couple slides in there that said, what is a data center? What is this term that everybody in the nation is actually challenged with right now, and what they're trying to find out exactly what's happening with that. So if you could, Vanessa, it's a...
Go to, there you go. So, good evening, everybody. Vanessa Guerra, Planning and Zoning Department. What is a data center? So, this is just a quick recap. A data center is a facility that houses computer servers and supporting infrastructure to store, process, manage, and transmit digital information. Very, very simply, that's basically what it is. A building with a bunch of computer type equipment inside. So, what do they do? Anytime you search on the internet, send an email, stream, use GPS, that's the services that data centers are providing. So, if you want to move over, this is what one can appear. This is what they look like. Just a big building. There you go. Moving on. So, data centers. Why are they important? Well, what we're seeing here is that there's an increasing demand for AI.
Please be respectful and just, you got the signs, just hold them up and wave them a little bit more if you would, rather than interrupting, because we'll be here all night if we keep interrupting and not allow everybody an opportunity, so please.
Cloud computing, video streaming and online services, e-commerce, the digital transactions, and of course all the interconnected things, all of our smart watches and smart refrigerators and smart doorbells, all of those things go through those data centers. Those are those services that they provide. So what could this mean for cities? Data centers could increasing demand for electrical infrastructure. They could mean greater cooling and water requirements, bigger buildings, just larger footprints, and the need, most certainly, for the appropriate zoning and development standards. So, with that. So we wanted to just touch very quickly on the types of data centers and sort of give a bit of information between traditional data centers and differentiate them from the ones we're talking about, the high-intensity data processing facilities. So we identified 4 areas where there's a bit of a difference. So for traditional data center, the primary purpose is to store, host, and deliver sort of cloud services, web applications, email, data storage. And for the high intensity, it focuses more on AI, big data analytics, scientific computing, machine learning. Primary hardware, generally your traditional data centers will have your average CPU units, whereas your high intensity will have more high performing graphic processing units. Power demand, this is a big one where they differentiate quite a bit. The power demand for your average traditional data center is about 5 to 15 kilowatts per equipment rack, whereas you're looking at high intensity is about 40 to 125 kilowatts per equipment rack, so about 8 times more electrical demand. So big difference there. Cooling requirements. Traditional data centers, it appears that they typically use conventional air cooling, whereas the high intensity looks like they use the advanced direct liquid or liquid to chip cooling systems. So the big key difference is that the high intensity data centers require substantially greater electrical capacity and cooling infrastructure. This slide is sort of an example that we found of a data center in Abilene. So you see here that that's that Stargate 1 data center. So you're seeing about, what is that, 1,100 acres or about 2 square miles of data center there. The site requires 1.2 gigawatts of electrical interconnection. So the data needs, or the electrical needs there, are approximately what you would need for about 750,000 homes. So quite a bit. Oops, sorry about that. Good. Should I keep going?
Yep.
Keep going? Okay. So, what are the potential impacts? So what we saw is that there are several areas where data centers would provide or pose potential impacts. So land, of course, noise and visual character. They can be noisy with the generators, just the equipment itself. So that's something that is an issue. The visual, just the look of them. I mean, they're not anything, just a big box. Not anything that would bring anything visually an enhancement to the community. Electrically, high electrical demand may be required to, including dedicated substations. an increased demand in the electrical grid, and of course, the need to coordinate with utility providers. Water resources, potential impacts there could be water demand for the cooling systems. And of course, this is all dependent on what type of cooling technology they use. And finally, we identified that environmentally, there could be emissions from the generators. This, we wanted to kind of quickly touch on what's going on state legislatively. In the past year, we saw that SB 6 required that new rules become established for the interconnection of large load customers. And in the upcoming legislative year, we anticipate a lot of action regarding these types of uses. We see that several House and Senate committees are currently studying data centers and their impacts on the electrical grid, the water supply, infrastructure, and economic development. Just recently, just August 3rd, the governor, this is something we wanted to make sure that we highlighted, is that the governor ordered that the state regulators audit pending data center projects seeking connection to the Texas electrical grid, therefore temporarily pausing their requests. So what is the current status in Laredo? From a regulatory standpoint, the Land Development Code does not specifically permit data centers. The code does prohibit any use that is not identified in the Land Development Code. So currently, if something were to come on board right now, they are prohibited. We do not have any applications currently for any high-intensity data processing facility. None have been submitted to our department or any department within the city. Did I turn this off? Okay. Also, we don't know of any high-intensity data processing facility projects currently proposed within city limits. So we don't have any, none of those have been identified either. We wanted to sort of address the data city. There is a speculation regarding a proposed 50,000 acre development known as Data City. We did reach out to the county, and they had not received any application regarding that project either. So, where does that leave us? The absence of regulations regarding high-intensity data processing centers means that we have a prime opportunity to develop that right now. So, what would we consider when developing a proposed ordinance? So we've sort of listed everything that we would want to look at. So we would want to look at land use and zoning, so establishing definitions, putting in some good performance standards, landscaping, distances, screening, fencing, all those sorts of things. Utilities, we want to make sure that we address electrical and wastewater and infrastructure capacity needs, water use and conservation, address cooling system technologies, and fire protection, address compliance with the most current fire code, and of course, coordinate with all of our other departments when we're developing these rules. So I think that's it.
If you back up 2 slides.
Sure.
Start right here. Okay. All right. Has everybody got at least a little better understanding about what the data center is within the state, within everything that's going on? You saw a lot about the different pieces. What I want to do, I wanted to come back to this slide as well too, because this is where the conversation, this is where the recommendations, this is the conversations that we have. The state of Texas regulates the use of moratoriums. They have a very distinct method of how to do moratoriums. Moratoriums cannot be outright full bans of anything that is illegal use within that structure. We have some cities testing that right now because there's a couple of them out there that have done full outright bans. We expect that there's going to be an issue legally at some point in time with that. But I wanted to go back because this is the thing that's really good about where our code is at right now today. It says that if it is not an identified use in our land use plan, it is prohibited for now. Now what that means is that if a legal use comes forward to the city, we have to then build standards for that. And so what was recommended to the council was, rather than to take the point on a moratorium, because the moratorium only has a 120-day window, and you have to remove that moratorium. And I better back up on that as well too. If we declare a moratorium by our ordinance, if we were to declare that 120-day window, what we have to do in the ordinance, we have to declare what the problem is. All right? We declare what the problem is. We don't have enough water. We don't have enough power. We don't have we're afraid of noise. Those are the big three, by the way, for any of these things. Those are the big three pieces of that. Water, power, and noise. If we declare what our problems are legally through the ordinance, if anyone comes along and says, we don't need your power, we don't need your water, we're not going to make any noise, they've now set themselves up that we have to try to find a way to allow them in there. I don't like doing this all in just a data center either, because to dumb it down really well for me, this is what helped me understand it as well too, it's a computer server room is what it is. It's a building with a bunch of servers. And that picture up there is a big building of servers. They can be smaller. They can be all different kinds of sizes. They can be double floors. They can be any kind of footprints that you want. Our standards have to protect against any of that if they're that way. I also don't like the way, just to use data centers as the example, because there are other uses out there that are water hog uses as well too. Should we not be building our standards for that? If they're power hogs, should we not be building our standards for that? The idea about the standards is not really to identify the boogeyman and say that it should be this way. It should be to protect us for anything that's going to disrupt our way of life and our water, our power, and the noise, and all those different pieces in there. So that's where, when we go back to our standards and our law, if we were to get an application, it gets stuck because our legislation, this thing has been there since 2015. And so it's a stable city law that is in place for us. And when something comes along, and I know Mr. Herrera and their team, when something comes along that is not identified in that list, then we go and say, we've got to build the standards for that. And that's the good of what our code is at right now. The moratorium buys us 120 days. Just so you know, we're a very busy city. I don't know if I can get 120 days to get standards in place in 120 days for data centers anyway. So it's going to take us a while to get that work done. And so that's the benefit of where we are currently at today, without taking a strong position saying, come look at us and come do something with us. That's the good thing about the moratorium. The bans we're kind of watching because what the legislature, what the state has done is said we're business friendly. We want every legal use of business there. Just so you know, data centers are not illegal use. The data centers are, if they're controlled, if they're utilized the right way, they might be able to eliminate the issues that we're going to see. And that's where I wanted to be up there. A couple other points I want to say as well too, because at the council meeting we talked a lot about this as well too. As best I can tell, there have been 2 projects jockeyed around for Webb County. That's the only. Data City is that big one. It's 50,000 acres. It's on the east side. It's in the Shell area. It's jockeyed about. I know nothing about that one. But when I look at the one that has been come and talked to the city, and by the way, it is not the data center that came and talked. It is the developer of the land. The developer of the land says, hey, I want to build out this land and I want to attract the data center to the city. So it's not even about a data center right now, it's about land development for that. I'll open up for the questions here in a second. I just want to make sure I lay that out there as far as what that is. So, and I'm not sure what that project is. I don't know that name of the project.
Project Sumlin, what's that?
Is that the 50,000 acre one?
I'm asking you, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I didn't think they named it. It's Webb County.
Right.
13.
I'm talking about one that's in the city limits.
And it's going to be, there's a whole article on.
Yeah, and if you Google Data City, you're going to find that information, right?
Yeah,
So,
and,
but I don't know what someone is.
But the thing that you gotta say is, it's not going to use water, it's not going to use power.
Right.
It's a brand new technology that is being developed, and that is very good for Webb County because it's gonna use oil and gas.
Okay,
So is there-
I held off on, let me get through everything and then we'll come back around for it. Yeah, because that's the concern that we have with all of these things is that if they meet those conditions, how do you prohibit, how does a moratorium that doesn't use water, doesn't use power? We have to develop out those standards. That's what I wanted to make sure I covered on that. I'm not sure what the 50,000, Data City is the one that is probably, if you Google it, you're gonna find it. I just don't know what it is because they didn't come and talk to the city at all. The other project that has been jockeyed around is a developer saying, I want to develop out of land. I do know that within the newspapers and the conversations, I know that when Legacy, we were working on the Legacy Water thing, there was a comment because Talise had an area for data centers listed on their development, the Talise development, which is north of us. The intent was not, and I think Mr. Earl covered that with the commissioners as well too, they're not going to use it. Just so you know, developers of land build out and they put what they want on there and they're trying to attract money into their development, right? I mean, if people don't buy homes, you don't sell homes in a residential area, commercial, industrial, and everything else. So the idea is that they put it out there when, say it in probably not the right way, when data center terminology was cool. I mean, before we knew what all those different impacts that we have to prepare for with it is out there, they put that on there because they wanted to attract somebody, big user that needed a lot of land, and that would help their development do all the other things that they're trying to do with the Talise development. But so that's about where we're at with that. There is no application for the city, which means we have our time, and this is why we're sharing with you the intent to build the standards now and get them built as quick as we can. Part of this conversation will be, and I'll share a little bit more with you. I'll let everybody speak here, and I'll shut up for a little bit and answer questions. I apologize. So I just want to make sure I set the ground properly for this, because I'm not sure what else we're going to be able to do. We're moving forward very well, I believe, with everything that is happening with that. I am happy to take, I'll answer questions, or if you have a comment, you want to share your opinions and everything, how about I shut up for a little bit? All right? And then we'll run down. If I can set some type of standard, because I know there's a lot of people that's going to raise their hand very quickly. Can I just move backwards? All right, let's just start with this row and we'll work our way backwards. And so, go ahead.
Sure. I just had a quick question because I think what we have seen is that when we went ahead and requested some of the speakers in the last city council meetings, when we went ahead and requested the council people's calendars, we noticed that you had in your calendar a meeting about data centers listed. And so I'm curious as to what that was not addressed in the last council meeting. I kind of want to give you the opportunity to answer that and explain it. And then the other thing that I'm kind of concerned with, and this is kind of directed to all the council members, is I do find it a little bit shameful that some council members did not, or stated that they did not know about data centers or what they were in the last two meetings that we had. I find it kind of distressing that from the time that we had that first conversation to the time that we had the next conversation, no research had been done by council members. I don't think the onus is on us to be educating them. I think they have the ability and the responsibility to look at the things that the community is talking about, and I'm kind of concerned as to why that was the action.
All right, thank you. All right. I mentioned just a little bit this earlier. The city manager's role is to make sure that the elected officials have all information at their fingertips to make a decision. I'm not a decision maker. My job is to make sure that all the information is there. My job is to make sure that the water, the trash, everything happens within the city as well too. But the whole process that we have is that my job is to keep the door open, keep the communication going. And when we get to a certain point, then I will make sure that our elected body get all up to date, because that's just it. I call them tire kickers, for lack of a better way. These are developers that are saying, I got the thing that's going to put Laredo on the market. And I'm sitting there going, well, Laredo's already on the market. We're the #1 port of entry. We have 260,000 population. We have all this stuff going for us. We're in great shape, thank you. But they're going to bring the next best thing to us, is what they're trying to develop out their properties and everything. So I sit and meet with everybody, just so you know. I mean, those of you that are...
Is that what that meeting was about?
I'll finish that. Just so you know, I sit with the Border Patrol on the border wall, that we believe there's other ways to protect our city rather than a wall, rather than the buoys. My job is to keep that communication going. My job is to talk with them and see if there's a way that we can get there. And I think that's where, when you look at the downtown area for that border wall, that's why we're doing a shorter wall in that area. They built that. Same thing with the data centers. I will meet with anybody that wants to come in and talk to me. They have their plan. I've told them that I've shared with them ARC's section 243063.2, and I said, right now it's a prohibited use because we don't have a classification for that.
That's a great position.
The point I'm trying to make with this is that I meet with everybody and anybody. I'll meet with anybody in this room. Get on my calendar, come and meet with me.
And so
But
would you be able to tell us what land developers you met with at that meeting?
Names.
Are we talking about data centers?
Who attended that meeting?
I did.
Who else?
I did. I will tell you that this developer and all developers, they try to meet with all the elected officials because they think that's the way to do it. I yell at anybody that meets with the elected officials without me there.
See, and I find that interesting is the discrepancy of time.
Hold it.
Answer the question.
I find it interesting that in that discrepancy of time in April, you were already having these conversations, and yet our last council meeting was in August, and some people still didn't know what data centers were.
And that's wherever the elected official is at that. They're in a different role. They have to look at what's at the table. What I'm telling you is that I meet with a lot of different people all the time.
You're stalling.
Again, who
Yeah,
was
let
it?
them pass the microphone.
Well, and I'm gonna reserve that because, and the only reason I'm doing that is because, now here's the thing. Here's the thing, it's speculative at best. And what's gonna happen is that you're gonna go out there, if you're that passionate about it, you're gonna go out and chastise that family, chastise whoever it is, and I'll just let you know that, it is not ready for public information because there is no application. And so that's where we're at. Now, if you want a boogeyman, blame me for that. I mean, my calendar got shared. You are welcome to my calendar every day of the week.
Of course, protecting everybody except us.
So yes, sir.
Okay, I'm here just because my granddaughter, 12-year-old, set me straight. I believe on the smoke screen that the Laredo Morning Times and KGNA's publish. Then I found out that there is no permits for data centers. There's not even anybody interested in a data center. But there was, we have a serious water problem for those of you that have those signs. Today, there's neighborhoods in Laredo that do not have water. In Plantation, today and yesterday, we had low pressure water. Last week, we had low pressure water. I moved here from Chicago 35 years ago. This is the first time that we had no problem. Yet we are worried about data centers when we should be worried about having water in Laredo. So, just as a matter of fact, the only reason my first town hall meeting, it's in my life, and I'm 73. because it was a smoke screen. Like I said, it took my granddaughter to tell me, and then I found out about the Data City, Texas. And I was very surprised that that could be, and this is Webb County, can be a hell of a option for Laredo because we have everything that they need. But if somebody wants to come to Laredo today, the only thing we have to say is there's no water and there is no power. So let's don't throw smoke screens out there. Let's don't make this a political situation. Let's just call it what it is. We have a water problem in Laredo, and we need to focus on solving that water problem because today, a lot of you young kids in your homes, you don't have water. So, to me, that's the only reason why I came. I don't care about the data centers. I know there will never be a data center here in Laredo.
Sir.
But I'm concerned about the lack of water.
Thank you. All right. And I don't know if do you want me to go into the water conversation, some of that as well too? I know some of you are passionate about that as well too, but happy to cover some of it. All right, let's just keep going. I'll bring it back when there's a question. So go to the next row. Yeah, all right, finish this row and then we'll go to the next row. I'll hand that out.
I have a question. Are you going to charge more for the water?
More for the water for where and when?
If a data center does get an application in?
So, all right, so now here's the thing, and this is where these interconnect. The mayor has already stated, yeah, thank you, I'm sorry. All right, the mayor has already stated, Legacy has already stated, and I think I need to go into the water conversation a little bit because we are correcting that as well too. Within this whole process, the quick answer is that nobody's going to get charged more if a data center was to come in. It's going to be, they have to come in and they would have to meet certain capacity requirements. But here's what the mayor did as well too with Legacy Water as well too, is that we are correcting our 100% off the Rio Grande River.
No, but the infrastructure is not there.
Yeah, now let me just walk through it. All right, because that's we're 2 years away from seeing the results of everything that we've been working on. And if you could, can you find one of the slides that I have in the portfolio? I'll bring that up there. So we're 100% off the Rio Grande River. We use 37 million gallons a day on average. We have the ability within our water rights of the Rio Grande River to use 55 million gallons a day. Our treatment plants can treat up to 85 million gallons a day. So that's our footprint. Right? I mean, this is our footprint, and if we can slide down, it's about halfway through. It's the top of the backup one. This will share a little bit as well too. One more. All right, here's what I was just sharing with you as well too. And by the way, we have 3 water master plans that said the same thing: diversified. El Paso, diversified. They brought in groundwater and surface water. San Antonio, diversified. They brought in additional water. I will tell you that the water closer to the city is the cheaper water to get. I mean, there's been talk about attaching to the desal plant all the way into Corpus. 163 miles of line to bring water up here.
That's for the citizens.
Yes, for the citizens. Yes. I'll stay with the citizen conversation. This started a long time before data centers became a term. And so there's 3 water master plans that said, we've got to fix this problem. This council, this mayor, we started fixing this problem. This is not a new problem. This is not a hurry up and let's get this done. We found partners where we can get this done. We use 37 million gallons a day. We have 55 million, go to the timeline chart now. 55 million gallons. So now, our water master plan, and this was talked about a little bit at the council meeting as well too. Keep going. Right there. This time chart, in our water master plan, we have water rights up to 2040. That's what our water master plans, all 3 of them said, our water rights based upon our growth, and we continue to grow. We're going to hit our water rights right around that 2040 mark. And so when people start talking about we're out of water, this is what they actually mean. 2040, we've utilized 100% of our water rights in the Rio Grande. we're a growing city. We have to diversify because the river acts a little bit differently than it did. We have to change our model and our footprint. So what we're going to do is that right now with this program here, you've heard about the Jasper Ruth Ranch. So that is that's a water source in the Carrizo Wilcox Aquifer. Just so you know, the Carrizo Wilcox Aquifer is a deep aquifer, has good water, or at least close water to what we have out of the river. And we're trying to incorporate that in there. We will have to blend it, we will have to utilize it. My challenge with these agreements is to make sure that the price is affordable. That goes back to exactly, are we going to have to charge more or less? We treat our water for $7 a thousand gallons. We sell our water because of the infrastructure. It's right around, an average bill is $14 to $15 a month. And depending on the use, it goes up and down. But it's about water and it's about infrastructure. We spent over $149 million, I think, in the last 2 years to restart replacing infrastructure that's over 50 years old. We're hitting on all the cylinders. But this idea is that we're trying to take our water and spread it, diversify it by 60-40. We stay with the river for 60% of our flow. We add 40% more groundwater within our system because we can't get any more water rights out of the river. We have to go to groundwater. The Carrizo Wilcox Aquifer is the closest one we have, and we can get down there. This is what the legacy agreement is. This is what the Jasper Ruth agreement is. We have talked with Maverick County. We've talked with Dimmitt County. We've talked all the way down to Corpus Christi about trying to find a way to get there. So on the other side of the water, just so you know, we're working, trying to get to that point where we've got that corrected. It's going to take 2 to 3 years before we ever resolve. We start to see the benefits.
We know why in the last month the problem exploded.
So when we talk about, and don't let me digress too far. We're here for data centers, but
Yeah, you're right.
the whole north side, if you haven't known that, the north side has had pressure problems, and they've had water and taste problems. And we're working on that. The blue-green algae in our water is actually causing the odor and the taste. We have a new system, the chlorine dioxide. Chlorine dioxide is coming in, and it's going to actually help us with some of that taste and color. But anytime it gets really hot, we have blooms. They're releasing more water out of the Amistad, and it's causing that blue-green.
We're on second.
All right, yep. And so, all right. I'm being told to get back on track. And it wasn't the city council this time, so we're all good. But it called me on that as well too. Let's keep walking through the question.
I don't have a question, it's a statement. The single most important thing that we can do right now as a community is file a petition with TCEQ to create a groundwater conservation district. These entities are the entities that have the authority to limit water usage in Webb County. Somebody tried to enact one sometime back a few years ago, but they wound up instead making a mini government for the Walker-Talese project. We only need, minimum signatures of 50 homeowners or landowners in Webb County, and we can file that petition. We don't need the legislative branch to help us. We can do it on our own as a community. So we need to get together and get that done, because right now we don't have one. Right now, any large industrial or commercial entity that comes to Webb County and buys land can pump as much groundwater as it wants to without limit. So we have to get that done.
Thank you. If we can we're just going to walk down. Move it over there. Anybody there want to speak? But go ahead, please.
So what I didn't see here was, I know it says we use a lot of electrical, we use a lot of water, but I think what I would want to see is how much water data centers, if they do pop up, the size, depending on the size, how much water it is actually going to realistically use, because I think how much it uses is going to affect this number, because it's saying 2040, but in realistically, if we do have a larger data center, we're going to probably exhaust even the groundwater.
electricity
And
also.
just really quickly on that, the prospective group out there says they're going to utilize 200,000 gallons of water. I think it's a day.
Per hour or per day?
That, I don't have the data. I don't have anything that we can check against and say that they're lying or they're telling the truth. I'm just telling you what this question is, because we work in millions of gallons a day. And so they're saying that we don't need any water. And this is my concern when we get back to the planning and zoning. If they come in and they say they don't need any water, we have to either try to prove them wrong or defend against that. And that's what the standards are going to be for. Is there anybody else in the row? All right, yes ma'am.
So I just wanted to say that, I would hope that we don't consider a data center in our future. There's already enough in the US. I don't know why they would want to put one in our little city, you know? Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
No, that's okay, please.
I'm a mom, and my baby's only 3. So imagine in 10 years with no water because of a data center and all these issues with the energy. It's pretty scary to think about, and that's why we're all here, right? We're all pretty concerned for our future.
Well, think back a little bit far. Well, no, you're actually a little young for this, but just so you know, and I've been around for about 30 years now. I've been around for 30 years in this whole system and as well too, in 4 different states and everything. We had the same concerns about these windmills for wind energy. We had concerns about solar energy because they have these big. No, what I'm trying to say is they take up a large footprint. And there was concern as to what that footprint looks like. And if you go and look at some of that, if they close down any of those centers, who's responsible for the cleanup? And that's all I'm saying is that I'm not picking a side on anything, just so you know. I'm trying to make sure that I share. These are the same things, but if you go back even farther, call centers. There was a concern about call centers disrupting the entire community because we have all these data banks of people calling and saying you need to pay your bill. This is just what the issue is today. Tomorrow there will be another one. This is the way the world actually operates, and we have to find a way to get ahead of that, and that's all I'm saying. So thank you for that. Yes, sir.
I'm not a public speaker, so please bear with me. It's not my usual job. My name is Renan. I'm a retired engineer. Used to work for Lockheed Martin Aerospace, General Motors, Ford Motor Company. And I'm a backroom guy. I don't speak publicly, but I want you guys to know that I'm a 7th generation Tejano. Our families have been on these lands, tending to them, caring for them, the same way that I do. And I can assure you that all of your ancestors wanted a better life for all of us. That was the common denominator for every person in this room. And there are scientific ways to do that. What we've talked about here today, what you've heard controversy over, are all problems that science can solve and will solve. Right now, we've got strong advocates saying water is life. And they couldn't be more correct. But do you know about the water that is death around us? We have tremendous amounts of water that is wastewater from our oil and gas community. Look around. You can throw a rock and it will hit an oil or a gas well, gas in our community, of course, oil in others. That water is being disposed of daily, and it can be cleaned to benefit our environment and to bring in work for our communities. Good paying jobs for our communities. We're sitting smack in the middle of Monterey and San Antonio, industrial cities. Where's our industry? These people are competing for every one of those jobs that these data centers can bring to us. We earn them. We want our kids to live here. We want our kids to thrive.
How many jobs do they bring?
You do. I mentioned this early. 260,000 people in this city. Everybody has a different opinion. Please, just let everybody talk. And we'll get to this point right here is where we're headed. But I want to make sure everybody has that opportunity. So let's keep going.
So I'm here to promote the idea of data centers, and we should wholeheartedly welcome them to our county
How much they paying
We
you,
need
man?
to incentivize the data centers into our region, not push them away. And here's why, because our children's very survival, without exaggeration, will depend on digital dominance and AI. And if you disagree, throw away your phone, turn off your social media. Every single sector of our world is driven by our digital superiority. We've grown immensely reliable on digital data for our everyday lives. We couldn't have imagined decades ago that we all depended on electricity, but now we depend on digital information for communications and for survival and for our livelihoods. And they ran through the list, but simple forms of AI are already out there. Cloud storage. How many people here have more than 500 pictures on their phone? That needs to go somewhere. Those clouds, those computers, that Google that you ran 5 minutes, those of you that are on your phone right now need data centers. And please put it away because I'm trying to make a point. But our education, our daily businesses need data and computing power. And even forms of warfare nowadays, and in the near future, our
And
national
surveillance.
defense and our security are going to need data centers, more data centers. The next medical miracle, and even real-world environmental solutions are going to come from computing power. Think about that. Those kinds of questions require ultra-precise processing of massive, massive amounts of data. You cannot find that answer with just human power. You're going to need AI.
I know you didn't write that.
You don't know what?
Our foreign adversaries are trying to convince us that data centers are bad. Make no mistake, our economy will be driven by whomever dominates our technology, and our only choice is for the U.S. to be that dominant force. Data centers will bring us construction jobs. They're gonna pay us for high-end scientific jobs in our community. So let's move forward responsibly. Let's not use our local water. Let's not use our energy. Let them produce their own electricity, whether it's micro reactors, or nuclear reactors, whether it's solar, whether it's wind. Let each data center be self-sufficient and relying on wastewater that is not used.
It's misinformation.
Let's bring in smart data centers and business partners. And let's do it for the well-being and the prosperity of our kids, because I don't want my kids always going to Houston and Austin and San Antonio and points north. I want my kids to have good paying jobs here, and we have the opportunity to do that today.
We can do that without data centers.
Okay, my name is Charlie Martins. I'm a petroleum landman. And I've been recruited, and I want to talk to you all. I've worked, I'm 74 years old, and I lease land for oil and gas, and that's going to be the end of it. Now, let me explain a couple of things. I have a history here. My family's 6th generation. I have the same concerns all of you do. I am a petroleum landman, and I was contacted by data center people. And that's when I began to open my eyes. I didn't really know what they were. I'm actually against them. You can call me whatever you want. Okay, you have that right. I am not for the data center effort, and I refused their money. And they got a lot of money. Do not kid yourselves. This is billions of dollars.
We can't eat money. We don't drink money.
They're willing to risk. I'm trying to teach you something, okay? I'm not up here making brownie points. I'm not up here making money. But I learned that their water consumption is very high. I learned their electrical use is very high. These concerns worry me as a citizen here in Laredo, Texas. Now, from what I learned, there's only one spot in Wood County that's got the electrical output. Okay? So, we're in a pretty good position with where we are in the city ordinance. So, when it comes down to it, I am a fighter to stop this. I was a fighter. Now, power companies, they have eminent domain. And so did the railroad. And I was in a group that took on the railroad. We stalled them 2 years. And instead of them building 54 tracks wide next to I-35, the train yard got moved perpendicular. So, do not kid yourself. I know all about property rights. I know about surface rights, water rights, mineral rights. I've been doing this 52 years. And most people that know me know that I tell the truth. And that's what I'm doing here today. Now, when it comes down to the fight, you've got an ordinance up here that is your protector right now. When things get tough, CP&L, whatever entity it is now, A&E, ADP, they all have eminent domain rights. That doesn't scare me. Railroad didn't scare me, and we took them down. So, you gotta remember, I don't care if they have eminent domain, whoever it is, we go to court. You gotta have the legal team, and I know city attorneys here, we are not geared towards condemnation and all those things. They take care of our city administration. But there is a way to even stop the railroad from doing what they want to do, and there's a way to stop a data center, and there's a way to stop AEP,
And the border wall.
and it'll actually slow them all down. Okay? This is what you have to do when you get in the big league with these billion-dollar entities. They want to go fast, and they want to go quick. And if you slow them down, they'll go somewhere else and look. So, remember that. The way to win this race is the turtle. The turtle always won because he was slow and direct. And the rabbit, he was always off jumping around and got himself lost all the time. Now, I'm not up here trying to get popularity. I'm glad that I've learned some. And I want us all to know, we are just on the start of this data center thing. Elon Musk has the right idea. He wants to put them in space. It's sub-zero up there. There's no air conditioning needed, no water needed. So I think somehow we have started to overreact here. We've got a list of things up there off of that other sheet of the next steps to take. The way I look at that ordinance right now, they're already looking somewhere else because we already got it blocked. Now, if you want to waste your time and money trying to figure out and stay ahead of these data center people, I'll join you. But it's a fast pace and they're over our head. Believe me, these people are fast and smart. And they already have a design for Texas. So we all need to be aware, we need to be smart, and we do not need to overreact and put people down because they're for or against. As far as I'm concerned, we're still learning.
Hello, my name is Pablo Granados, and this is more of a general comment. I think the two main things here is being transparent and being proactive. I used to work in Central Texas. I worked in a co-location site, another company for data storage, and this is just a progression. So we need to get informed before these things happen. And by the time that something is being discussed, it's a chess match. Parts already been placed, you know, and if they're saying it could be self-sufficient, then obviously where do they get the water from? Where are they going to get the power from? And with any technology company, you're always going to have a disaster recovery plan. What does that mean? You're going to plug into some grid, you're going to plug into some water, because those companies cannot go down. So those are the things that you need to look at.
And I agree, and that is part of what's happening. It anybody see the article that was just out just today or yesterday on the one that they're trying to rescind the agreement that they had with the data center because there was a stipulation in there, if they can't meet their expectations, they get the other water within that agreement. Those are the things that we have to protect ourselves from. So, Mr. Tribune.
Hello. I first want to comment on what the gentleman Charlie said, because he's not messing around. We're talking about the richest, most powerful entities in the world, and they can play the long game. They're playing the turtle game, as Charlie was talking about, and we have to have our eye on the ball. And funny, this issue makes strange bedfellows, because I've been out of Dimmitt, I've been out in Zavala, ranch landmen like Yellowstone, I'm talking to folks like that, they don't like this, they don't like data centers either. So we are on the right side. And Mr. Neeb, it sounds like, and these city council people, what I've just been talking for a couple, like literally a week of doing this. And all I've heard is like, no one trusts the city. No one trusts the leaders. And we feel that at the end of the day, you guys are gonna do what you want. Even though we say no, even though we could pack the house and have all these signs, we could organize, we could do everything that our Constitution lets us, at the end of the day, you guys are just gonna do what we want. And what we have proposed, we're not just complainers, and I hope that you afford me some time, just like you afforded these gentlemen and this propagandist that was talking about how data centers are good for us. This is called the Frontera Plan. The Frontera Sin Data Centers proposes the following: an immediate pause to all secondary water source contracts that have been contemplated by the City of Laredo and Webb County until the public is afforded a transparent and democratic process from start to finish. We're talking about our water. We want the contract to be published. Publish a draft contract ahead of time so that people could see the details, like what are the rates for our water. We're going to be here longer than you guys. Host a town hall in each city council district for the specific purpose of obtaining feedback on the agreements before they're signed. People should be afforded an opportunity to propose amendments. Appoint 2 residents per city council and county commissioner precinct respectively to a committee to provide input on a contract propositions with sufficient time to provide true input. Appointees must be representative of the district they live in. An outright ban, too. We want an outright ban on data centers in Laredo and Webb County. Other than this one guy, I don't think anyone wants it here. Do I want to free country? Legacy Water Corporation, Supplier Corporation, right? Though that legacy company, you know where they're headquartered at? Not in Webb, they're headquartered in Bear. That they relocate to Webb County. A referendum on any secondary water source agreements. 5, that the City of Laredo, Webb County, and Legacy Water Supply Corporation issue a public apology to the Winter Garden Conservation District for disrespectful conduct and intimidation done in our name. Almost done. That the City of Laredo amend its City Council procedure to prioritize public input. Allow public comments to start at every City Council. Prioritize items that had the most public signups. Most public comments sign up. I don't think we're here if you guys didn't freeze us out for 2 months. That's right. We got angry and we think we need change. 7, because the installation of flock cameras in Laredo similarly excluded authentic input in debate, we demand the City of Laredo cancel all flock contracts and alternatively phase them out. Right. We deserve a seat on the table when it comes to our privacy, our water, and our air. It's time to end Patron 2.0. I appreciate the opportunity to give my piece, Mr. Lee.
Let me address this point right on there because again, and I appreciate the frustration that you have when you come to a city council meeting. We have over 150 items on every agenda. Some of these items have taken months to even get onto the agenda as well too. The challenge that our elected officials have is trying to figure out which ones are the most important at the time. They try to be as respectful as they can within that structure, but that's the challenge we have. In my mind, these are the type of conversations we should be having first and foremost. These business meetings of the council, it's very difficult because they have this list of work that they have on there. We have these items that come up at different times, and it makes it really, really difficult. When we do a public comment at the front, there is no dialogue. There is no back and forth. When you get your 3 minutes, thank you for your time. We're moving on to the next one, because we're trying to get that work done. That avenue, that bureaucratic system that we have to get through this business is not conducive to exactly what you're talking about. I like, can I have a copy of that when we're done? All right, thank you, sir. But I just wanted to make sure you understood that. I want to make sure everybody understands. They're not doing it at the council meetings to upset anybody. There is just so much work that has to be done. No, listen. Your voices are just as important. Your voices are important, but what about the other work that is just as important for moving the city forward? So I just wanted to make sure I laid that out there, because my elected officials are a little bit quieter about this, because they do want to hear from you. And some of them are able to make more time depending on what their jobs are, their roles are, and everything else. But I'll guarantee every one of them will try to talk with you for this stuff. The challenge is that meeting that's a business meeting of the city, and it's very difficult to pick and choose what items are on there. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that. I knew this would be a topic that was going to come up, so I just wanted to make sure I covered that.
Thank you. So I wasn't born in Laredo. I'm not a native Laredo, but I'm a proud Laredoan. I lived here in '88 to '90 and came back in 2004. And I sincerely appreciate, our passionate, community members here who obviously are against data centers. And I appreciate the proactive approach that City Council and City staff and managers is taking on the Land Development Code. I understand the Land Development Code. I'm a commercial realtor, and I see some concerns on my side, because data centers are not going to be built within the city limits. There's an ETJ area that extends to about 5 miles outside the city limits. Data centers are more than likely not targeting anywhere inside the city limits. They're going to be targeting outside city limits. So my question is, and I think this is great that we're being proactive with the Land Development Code. My question is, does the city have any power if the county decides to do something?
Great question. Does the city have power for?
Can the city do anything if the county, makes some other decisions, regarding data centers?
Yeah, the challenge we have is, of course, the county is a separate governmental entity, right? They have to do their own work. The good benefit of Webb County, 96% of our population is here within the city. And so, yes, we do have the ability. I think that is where we have the conversation with them as well, too, as to what works for whatever that structure. And just, it's a lot of times people try to fight against City Hall or whatever. I'm trying to tell you there's a way to walk through those conversations. And it is trying to make sure that it happens. I've only been here 3.5 years myself. And my goal is to make sure that I do my job properly so that the elected officials have all the tools at the table so they can make a decision on anything that's affecting. Every one of your voices are important. Every one of those pieces are important for that. I just have to find a way to translate it so it gets on the table, so it gets heard. And I appreciate that list as well, too. And Hector, thank you.
I'm so sorry. Mr. Alaniz? Hi, Joaquin Diaz, City Attorney. To answer your question, yes, while some places are within our ETJ, which is a 5-mile radius from our city limits, a landowner can always petition to get out of it, and that's recent legislation that happened. So if that petition does come forward from a landowner, there is absolutely nothing that the city can do to regulate that land use, just to answer your question, sir.
And so my point was, we have a lot of passionate individuals. So my point is, we have a lot of passionate individuals that, are attending today's town hall meeting. I attend the council meetings regularly. We've had a lot of speakers, speaking against this as well. But I haven't heard anyone having any meetings with county officials, and that's my point.
Well said.
Sir, thank you for the opportunity to talk. A couple of questions, right? So we're talking about ordinances and stuff like that. And you talk about jobs that it might create, right? So how many of those jobs are actually for people of Laredo, right? How many of those jobs, let's say, God forbid it happens because I'm against it, but let's just say it happens. And somebody's gonna build that, right? Somebody has to build that. More than likely, the person that's gonna build it's not from Laredo. Those jobs, those people that are gonna get hired are gonna move to Laredo 2-3 years, get the jobs, and take their money with them. What can you do? Again, I'm not saying I want it to happen, I don't. But what can you do that if it does go on, it does happen, but how do you keep that money here?
It is a sad thing that you don't think that our young people can go to school and grow up to start doing those type of high technology jobs.
Let me answer the question. I'm a certified city county manager for 29 years. I'm 29 years in the field. I'm also an economic developer, certified economic developer. How do you do that? Because, look, I see a lot of people that come into the cities and I call them, please don't, I don't mean to insult anybody that may do this, but they're a used car salesman. They come in and they give you the best song and dance. They give you the best piece of that. One of these propositions, they're going to bring 400 jobs, and they're permanent. I mean, they're not just construction jobs. They're 400 jobs, and they're going to be here forever. The way you do that is in our legislation. We build the standards the right way. It was talked about with the city council to establish
Conditional use permit.
what's the name of that?
Conditional use
on
permit.
top of it.
Conditional use permit.
Conditional use permit. So even if we have to allow for a zoning area that they can fit into, you have to come for a conditional use permit. And when we talk about transparency, that allows for the communication with the public again. Because a conditional use permit has to go to the city council for approval as well too. It's not that they fit, they just move forward. A conditional use permit actually causes them to have to take another step. There's also this thing called the development agreement. And the development agreements are what you utilize to say, these are the metrics you're going to operate under. I mean, it's a contractual relationship, and Texas has a lot of those different contractual relationships. These jobs have to be at $20 an hour. They have to be full-time. They have to be whatever they are. I'm just picking a number. I'm not setting. I just want to make sure I showed exactly. You put it into a development agreement. We do it with our Chapter 380 tax abatement. We put in there that if you abide by, you do this, and this, then you allowed to keep the Chapter 380 abatement for the next period of whatever that time is. You establish those into the contractual relationship. And that's what we're doing as well too. And I know that's what Mr. Covino talked a little bit about. I want to see the agreements. We can show those agreements as well too. And I'll go into that conversation a little later. I think we're planning a water town hall as well too, because we want to cover exactly what I was just covering up there. But that's how you do it. You put it into the agreement. If we don't ask for it, I'll guarantee you we're not going to get it. So the idea is we put it into the agreement and we say, this is what you have to abide by. And then if they don't abide by it, then we're able to say, you can't do it. And so they've broken that rule. The other thing that happens in these development agreements, just so you know, is they try to do these cure periods, and these are the things that I'm just sharing it with you because we're talking about it. You don't want just a cure period where they can say, well, we'll fix whatever the problem is. There should be some type of a penalty for that. There should be that because they didn't follow through with what they were asked to do. And so just so you're aware of that. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dr. Teresa Johnson Hernandez, and with all due respect, I don't want to seem rude. I see that you all put quite a bit of time into your PowerPoint, and I think that we, the individuals here in our community, we would like transparency. That's all we're asking for. That's all we're asking for. We have individuals that know these answers, and just the whole issue of ignoring and just not being transparent is disturbing, right? I think that the most important thing is that we remember, because I know, you brought it up, city council or whatever, they're very, very busy. We also need to remember that they get paid very well to represent us. So their job is to make sure that when we have meetings like this, we know who they are or the answers to these questions. Because my question is, who's on the land development committee? These people should know.
I don't even know who's on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I think Richard Raymond also. Do you know who's on the land committee?
At the state?
Oh, I'm asking.
At the state? 'Cause-
So, again, we just want transparency,
Yeah.
right? So, we're here for the betterment of everyone. For the betterment, and we're not saying we're against businesses, we want businesses. As the #1 import-export today, because tomorrow we may not be, right? It's important that we remember that we need to make wise business choices, right? And as a city manager, because you're in charge of making sure that the city council knows what they're doing, we want answers on these PowerPoints, right? Thank you.
Yo, yo. You're right, I don't know what land, maybe she means planning and zoning? No. Planning and zoning, is it, I don't know, land committee, anybody heard of land committee, Joe, can you answer that?
At the state level?
No, and it is, it's, what the city utilizes is the planning and zoning commission. And so, I know, you're talking on the state level, you're talking on the state level, and so, and there are different governmental structures within that. We are a home rule city, and so we actually operate, we operate with certain rules that are passed by our charter, that are approved by the public as well too, and so that's where we kind of follow through with all those different things. But I'm gonna keep moving because I think we're getting to. Yes, sir.
Juanito Nali, my name is Valentin Ruiz, and I am Huachichi, but some people call me Mexicano, but I belong to the Huachichi Nation. Mexico has over 365 nations, okay, alone. That being said, the United States has broken treaties with the native indigenous people, and I'm talking about you guys too, because they're taking your land when it comes to the wall. Okay? They're taking your water when it comes to the data centers. You are indigenous to this place. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, morenito, doesn't matter. You're indigenous to here. And we have had white people stand with us in this fight. Okay? I want you to recognize that. Okay? But then again, Malcolm X coined this term, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to anybody, but it's a true term. He called people house negros. Okay? House negros. ¿Por qué? Because, yes, massa. No, massa. Lo que quiere, lo que quiera el gobierno. And that is wrong. Mayor, you had an interview with Huella and Raymond. And the impression I got was that this was a done deal. And it wasn't. All it was, when it was an agreement to have an agreement on a meeting to discuss. Am I right?
It moves the needle forward. There are still additional conversations that have to be had. So, and which meeting are you talking about though?
There was one he posted on Facebook.
With the legacy water, or
that one as well.
The one before, yeah, that was the press conference that was held. Yeah, that was I wasn't there for that one. So but well, we'll walk.
It gives a wrong impression. And in transparency, we want to have the right information, not something that is going to help me get elected. Okay? Okay, talking about our water. This, they're going to take water, I imagine, if not from the river, from the Webb County Sparta Aquifer. Okay? And that belongs to the ranchers of Webb County. Okay? What does that mean? Why do I care about that? Because I have friends that are ranchers, and they're not going to have water for their cattle, for their crops. Okay? And guess what? If they become one of these high energy grid data centers, they're going to poison our water. And where are they going to dump it? In the ground. Contaminated. We already have dirty water as it is that has forever chemicals that cause cancer. Okay? The wrong decision were made, not in your time, sir. but they brought in this desanitizing place to Laredo. Why do they want to put him here? Look around. Todos aquí somos morenos, we're minority. And the other ones that are here mingling with us, they're just, ni modo. They're mingling with the wrong people. Okay? That's why they put data centers, that's why they put places that, like that sanitizing place, in places where there are more minorities. Okay? And then they divide us with the right versus left. We need to come together as one. And not only advocate here, and yes, thank you, not just to the mayor, but to all the city council members. Because it wasn't one person that made it happen. It was the advocacy of us advocates going out there and not complaining, sir. We were making it clear that a lot of us were not allowed to speak. Students were not allowed to speak. Children were not allowed to speak. Grandmothers were not to speak. And I had to stand up several times and remind them that they skipped us. And they still ignored us. Okay? And if this is your way of making it right, a good effort. Okay? But you can do more. Okay? Now, you're talking about also recycling water from where? Is it going to be a contaminated source? Are you going to put all those rules to protect our city? Because you only mentioned 3. So, I want you to put that in there, sir. I know you don't want to say names. I know you don't want to say the names of the landowner. But it gives the wrong perception. The perception que estás aquí por una mordida. Plan con maña. Okay? That's the perception that I get. On energy, the city needs to identify, okay, what kind of pollution control measurements are you going to put? Because you didn't mention that, okay? They're going to have their own power grid. Is their power grid going to be a priority for the government, as well as the water that they use, over the citizens' rights? We need those protections. Okay? How much power do they need? And don't allow them to expand, okay? Because they've done tests on my people and they say, oh, we're just checking your DNA. And then they use it for a whole bunch of things, okay? For a whole bunch of things that we don't even know about.
Under the table.
Yeah. They're going to contaminate the water, and whose property is that's going to be used? We haven't got an answer. Who's the land developer? Who's the owner of the property? What company do they want to use? And chlorine dioxide, I understand you're using that as a new method of cleaning the water. Great. But what hazards does it present to us? I want transparency on that. Okay. And there were some people on the other side, and they're for data centers, and let me tell you why. I'm against them. Because they're dumbing down our kids. They're dumbing them down. Okay? They teach STAR programs that are ineffective. The 30 is a new 70, the 40 is a new 70 in math. Okay, when we were in school, 70 was a barely passing grade, and now it's 30s, 50s, and they have all that information from the data center, from Google, making it so damn easy for them that they don't even know how to look a card catalog in the library. They don't even know how to write their names in cursive. So that's why I'm against the data center, because they're dumbing down our people, and we're already dumb enough with all the that's happening in our government. Thank you.
I'm gonna keep it real quick. I see a lot of smart individuals, and I want to ask y'all a question. Do you know how long the human body can go without water? And I actually want to hear, anybody can say it, like, it doesn't matter. 3 days, 72 hours. you know how desperate a human's gonna become once we run out of water? Because there's no other alternative to like keeping these data centers cool, especially here in Laredo. We have summer all year round. And y'all keep permitting warehouses, cutting down our trees, everything. You guys are creating a big heat sink effect. Like, you guys aren't really protecting us, and I just want to say one thing. When our First Amendment right doesn't protect us anymore, and when you guys don't protect us anymore, what's left for us to do? Like, what are you, like, and like, also about the jobs too, like, if you look at California, there's already ads for AIs taking people's jobs. Like, they're advertising how, like, your next employee is not going to be human. Robots are becoming, like, more and more advanced, more and more humanoid. They can perform human tasks. And they're becoming more and more cheaper and easier to manufacture. There's eventually going to be no more jobs if the employer is going to be like, oh, it's cheaper for me, easier for me to run a robot than it is to pay a human.
Just so you know, that's where NAFTA came from as well too, right? Because the U.S. started transporting all of this work over into Mexico because it was a better way to go. It was cheaper, right? This stuff will always happen. I truly believe that. I trust that humans are a little bit more resilient than that. How many of you have been around long enough that you've had to do a job change as well too? I mean, those things will happen. I'm not going to downgrade any of what you're saying because it's important as well too. But what we're talking about is trying to find how do we move this thing forward. That's really going to be the key.
The thing is, we don't want to move this thing forward.
But if you don't move forward, you're going to get bulldozed over.
By who?
By whatever happens.
Who? What threat? Like, we've gone so many.
It's your job.
We've gone so many years without data centers.
What I'm trying to do is tell you we're trying to do that. Now, I'm not protecting the way you're saying I need to protect.
You're not protecting.
But there's 200. I mean, you've already heard some of the other voices as well too. The idea is to put everything on the table and pick the best path.
There's no.
I don't. Just so you know.
You don't want it. That's what you need to understand.
I know. I understand that.
You need to listen to
I
us.
understand that.
Represent us.
So
not the company.
now here, let me take it here now because now I want to get through everybody else that's speaking. I want to get through everybody else. Thank you. I want to get through everybody else speaking. So
I just want to say, at the end of the day, you guys have money, and when the city goes, you guys are just gonna leave.
Let me tell you all as well too, because I know it came up over here, and I want to make sure that you all understand because none of you have talked to me until today. My email is out there, jneeb@ci.laredo.tx.us. Please email me. Please email me. jneeb, and it's on the website if you like to use computers. jneeb@ci.laredo.tx.us. Drop me a note. You guys, I do know some of you have contacted the council members, whichever ones that you wanted to contact. Please contact me as well too, because this statement right up here, this is my directive from the city council, and we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving through the conversations. But I wanted to make sure I say this before we lose anybody out of this room. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, my cards kept getting knocked off the table, but that's the best way to hit me up is with my email. But this question here is what I'm going to ask everybody to help me with as well too. The directive from the city council is to establish standards for these types of entities. Standards for this. I want to have your opinions in there. On Friday of this week, we will broadcast, we will send out on social media a survey that is detailed about, tell us what you want. If it is banned data centers, if it's moratorium, whatever it is, you can put it on there. But know that, and this is why I've covered the stuff that I've already covered, the city has to still do its work.
Do what San Marcos is doing.
Right.
Do what San Marcos is doing.
And it works until it doesn't. I mean, that's...
And then you keep fighting.
We are better to have standards in place to do that. I mean, and I won't digress into the planning and zoning side. The challenge we have with this thing is that because you open yourself up. I don't know how long San Marcos is going to. That's the first one in Texas that has done it to that level. The only other ones I've seen are out of other states. Just know that there's a state law out there that says a moratorium on any legal type of use is 120 days. That's the problem we have with that, and that's why I think that there will be a conversation that happens with San Marcos at some level. But I just want to make sure. That's the question I'm going to ask you for. At the end of the day, we will put a survey out on Friday. And it's going to have details as to, please tell me your thoughts, please tell me that. That'll all go over to planning and zoning. When they start putting the standards together, that's where some of this is going to go. If the council directs differently, we'll make those adjustments. But I just want to make sure you're aware of what my rules and my marching orders are. Ma'am?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Okay, I'm a U.S. citizen here from Laredo, born and lived in Laredo. And I was not happy to see how the council was behaving towards the people, because it is us who you need to serve. You guys get all the jobs and all the money. And some of our families are even working 4 or 5 jobs just to afford. So if we increase all these prices going on in the data centers, how is it going to affect the people? Like me, I suffer from seizures. So any little magnetic thing can trigger a seizure. So we have a data center out here close by my house built. How are you going to provide service to me? How am I going to live a safe life if I already know in another state where my sister lives, she says her neighbors and them cannot even sleep at night because of the loud noises. Right. The birds are being killed, the trees are being removed. Now back in November of 2025, Richard Raymond was in a symposium which stated about the data centers, and it was talking about the energy ecosystems. Is there anywhere or any place that I can find that record on so I can see the information? Back on November 25 with Richard Raymond.
Joe. Yeah, Mike. Thank you. Thank you. What's your name? What's your name? What?
Grisela Perez.
You said that. And you saw something about me being in a, what was that again?
Symposium. You were in the meeting, you were covering the data center, energy, ecosystem. But up to now, a lot of us people have not been informed of everything going on because a lot of this info has been kept to themselves, and you all want us to jump in. And we don't even know how it's going to affect our environment, but I do know you were there. So if you can inform us on it, is there anywhere I can find those records?
No, they didn't record it.
They didn't record it.
Unlike
Why
this.
didn't they record it? Why?
Ma'am, it wasn't my event.
Yes.
I was invited.
Yes.
And so like if you had something at your house and you invited me and you talked, let me finish. And you asked me questions and I answered them, and you didn't record it, what could I do, ma'am? They didn't record it, but I can tell you what I said. Look, you're being political because my opponent's the one that brought this up, but that's okay. Let me just tell you what I did. So I got invited. Hold on a second, guys, hold on a second. So I got invited to go to this, it was a discussion is what it was, called symposium, there weren't very many people there. And so they asked me, well, Representative, what do you think about data centers coming to Texas? And this is what I said. I said, guys, let me tell you something. We just passed a bill that says, you come and build a data center here, and they use large loads, we call large loads, 75 megawatts and above, right? And most of them are going to use way beyond 75 megawatts. So I said, I hope you understand something. If you build one here, and you know, if there's any challenge to the grid after Winter Storm Uri, you all remember that, the freeze. If there's any chance that we're getting close to where we don't have enough, we will shut you down. That's what I told them. So I was not obviously I was not very good. I was not telling them what they wanted to hear because I said, so I don't know, guys, I said, I don't know that if we shut you down, if that means you're going to lose money, are you going to lose this? Yeah, we lose money. Well, then you need to think about whether you want to build them. That's what I said.
Let me bring it back a little bit as well too. So it's so right now you asked a question about you know, how much power they're going to use. Is it going to affect me? Well, because we don't have any true data, we have no way to calculate any of that right now. You know, that, and, no, this is what I'm trying to make sure you understand, is that until they put a proposal on the table, it's all speculative, it's all guesswork. I mean, it's like the 400 jobs we just talked about. If we put it in the agreement and we say, if we have to do an agreement, we put it in the agreement, I want 400 jobs for the next 10 years. I want them to be at this rate. I want them to do this. Yeah, so I just want to make sure you understand. But it's got to reach beyond the speculative level. That's the thing, is that, and here's the thing, right now they're looking at one parcel in the city, right? I mean, I've already talked about that. What if they look at a different one? What if they look at a different one? That's the model that we are in as well too. It's like, you know, I know, but that's the thing, is that we can get no other work done if we have to get them to lay it on the table and say, this is what we're going to build, this is what we're going to do, and now we have that evidence, exactly what you're all asking for. We've got it on the table, and now we can deal with it. Right now, there's nothing on the table. No, I did not. I'm sorry if I did. I said it at the early part. There is nothing there. I've talked to people that have an interest in doing that. That's what I've said. What I'm asking for, and this is the directive of the city council, is that build the standards so that we know how to regulate them.
But why do we need that standard? If it weren't that you guys are planning on doing it.
No, you need it's a legal use in Texas to build a data center. It's a legal use. If we don't build our standard before we have an application, you know what's going to happen?
Yeah,
the application is going to be there, and they're going to say, we fit all these other conditions. And then we're going to get stuck with that. Where we're at right now, we get an opportunity to build a standard that works on that bit, and then that's where you do the CUP. That's where you do all the other things to say, you got to now come in and prove to us. That's where it's at.
Those laws, but don't sign anything. Don't sign agreements. Make the laws. Don't sign agreements.
But there's no agreement to sign right now. I mean, the whole thing is that there has to be an agreement of some type saying this is what we're going to present. Because I'll tell you, if it's not in writing, I can't do anything with it. If they don't say we're going to bring in 400 jobs, I can't do anything with it. I say these are the type of jobs you have to bring in. This is the type of thing. They come in and say no water. We're not going to use any water.
I got a question.
Yes, I get really concerned.
But I know, I
that
agree.
you're saying
I mean,
that
I don't know how it's going to get done.
You can't give us any public records, but when we ask for your public statements from meetings that you've had from our elected officials, you don't have to share those information that you're telling us. So when you speak to people in regards to data centers, you don't have to share the information back to the public. Right.
My work is considered, it's just preliminary work product. Until it goes into the system as to what it is, then it becomes public record. And, I mean, you want to explain the difference between work product and that?
Hello, everyone. So our legislature and the laws that we have in the state of, Joaquin Rodriguez, first assistant city attorney of the city of Laredo. So there are certain situations when things have to be open to the public. For instance, like our council meetings, right? There are 3 days where we have to post. The agenda is given to the public, so you know exactly what is going to be talked about. That is required under the Texas Open Meetings Act, okay? Now, everything else that doesn't fall within or within the purview of the Texas Open Meetings Act can be done outside of the public. That's just how it works, y'all. That's just, there are legal ways, or there are times legally when this information has to be made public. And that's only if it falls within the Texas Open Meetings Act.
Sir, I am not able to make a decision. Sir, that's the job I have. Well, we're moving back.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Got a question.
Go ahead.
Your presentation, I think is poor.
What's that?
Your presentation, the PowerPoint, I think is poor because you're not giving any reason why you want to build a data center. And that's what the citizens are here for.
Well,
so I know you understand your standards. I understand what you're saying, and you got rules you got to go through, right? But if there's 200-300 data centers across the country, you gotta know what they're using it for. I mean, they're gonna use it for a purpose here, that's what people are here, so we can raise our hands, we don't want that. And I can start with water, right? And we can go on, but you're not giving us nothing so we can raise our hands if we support it or not.
And I agree with you. I don't have anything to give you. That's what I'm saying. Is
They're
that,
asking what enforceable standards must be in place, but there's nothing you're giving us.
but
There's nothing I can raise
no,
my hand, I'm against it.
no,
I'm
but
for
I'll,
it.
here's the thing, is that data centers out there. I mean, everybody is here not to just learn about what the heck is a data center. A lot of you, I mean, you got the signs to show it as well too. They know what a data center is. They know what they don't like already. That's what I'm trying to say there is, tell me what you don't like, so it's in a format that I can actually introduce it into
I
the
get it, but
conversation.
you're not giving us nothing like, earlier was, you even said it, water, there's an issue right now with water taste, right?
I went and looked.
To my last few restaurants I went to, the water taste was bad, drinking a sweet tea or Dr. Pepper, I couldn't even put it with a sugar. It was that bad. Now, are they fixing that? No, you got, give us some options where you can say the data center is for automation of maybe flood cameras in the future are gonna give us tickets automatically in every corner. Now give us that. We want that. Nobody wants it.
No, exactly.
We don't know what the data, we don't know what data center's looking, we don't know what it is.
We're just blind here.
About
nothing.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Until I have something, I can't give it to you.
So there's no need for the meeting until you give us real, concrete information so we can raise our hands and say, we don't want this in Laredo.
The intent of the meeting, though, is that because there were all of you that had been at the council meeting and didn't get an opportunity to say exactly what you wanted to say, this is what this town hall meeting is for. And so I appreciate what you're saying.
Stay away from our water, we're good.
But I don't know if everybody agrees with that. Right? I mean, because there are, let me keep going because, hey, we're gonna extend the town hall by an hour. I know it's not 11 o'clock for the council, but we're gonna go ahead and extend, we'll keep going until we get through everybody. I wanna make sure that we've met everybody. I've talked about that. Happy to keep going. Yes, sir.
So if I understand correctly, what you're saying is, X data center, if it's let's say a hydroponic farm, if they were to come and they want to use our water, and if they use the same amount of power, same amount of water as a data center, they would be able to build in Laredo or build anywhere in Webb County because we don't have the standards to prevent them from doing so.
Well, yeah, and you use the hydroponics and, yeah, because there is a, what?
Now, give me a second. And secondly, I wanted to say that it is hard to trust you all because I was at a meeting and you guys presented the shorter wall. Read the letter from the government threatening us that we better comply or else they'll condemn everything. But then the next day the buoys were there and nobody said anything. And there's no way none of you knew. No way that none of you knew that they were going there. And nobody said anything. So it's really hard to trust you, to say, hey, trust us, we'll take care of you. We're going to protect you and protect our water, protect our city. And I used to work at a hydroponic. And the hydroponic farm was run by robots. Now, there were 69 of us working because the robots were not functional yet. And everything was automated. Everything. Eventually, they were going to be the Amazon of hydroponic farms. Eventually, all 69 of us, well, 65 of us were going to be laid off. Only 4 of us were going to stay there to run the whole farm. A farm that had thousands and thousands of hydroponic beds, growing lettuce, kale, basil, different kinds of greens that we were selling to Whole Foods and other suppliers. That's going to happen. By 2027, we are forecasted to lose everything. Most people are going to lose their jobs. Not only that, building the wall, and if we do have data centers here, not only that, we have all these warehouses that are being built in Mines Road that I land surveyed for. We are speeding up the desertification of Laredo. And your number is 2040, but that actually is not correct. It's actually 2036, especially if we continue to speed up our desertification. So I do not have faith in you guys. But my question is, how do we build that confidence in you when you guys can't even share basic information with us? And people like, I won't name names, but certain council members just choose to fight to be right and be understood instead of actually being held accountable and being transparent.
Let me I'll address some of the things. I probably can't get it all unpacked exactly where you're at, because I'll go down about 3 other rabbit holes in order to try to explain some of that as well too. I've talked about this with the mayor and the city council. When it comes to the border wall, the buoys and all of that, we did not know the buoys were showing up the day that they did, just so you know. We did not. The buoys are a different structure than the border wall itself. The border wall, they're after our property. The buoys, they want to put it into the international waters that they have some rights to. The argument's a little bit different on both of them. And this is the hard part for those of you that talk about transparency and everything else. We are in a very difficult negotiation with a federal government that loves to push over the top of anybody that disagrees with them. I say that because if I go out, thank you, my wife says that I'm not talking in the microphone. So, but if I share everything out in the public as to how these negotiations are going, then I'd let the other side know exactly where we're headed. And that's the difficulty with trying to balance out what information to give and when and where it's at. And the council struggle with this all the time as well too. I mean, there is people that call these council members all the time to say, I've got the next best deal for you, and I want to take your time, and I want to show you what that is, because what they do is they try to divide them up, and they try to sell them on whatever it is they're selling, and then they have to go sit behind that dais and make a decision based upon this information that is not there. I'm that safety valve within that structure. I'm the one that says you've got to pull all this together. There has to be an agreement. There has to be something that the elected body can actually look at and say we like it or don't like it. And that's the concern I have. If we don't have standards in place, we're going to get something we don't want. We have to have the standards in place, and that's where it is. So, but with the border wall, just so you know, I mean, if you look at what's been happening up and down the river, it's not happening in Laredo at the same intensity. That is what.
There's already equipment down by the river by West Laredo, and there's already plans for
So now the thing is that we have 220 property owners along the river in a 41-mile stretch in Laredo. Every property owner has the right to choose what they want to do. So there is a wall already in the city. It's on private property, and we don't have any rights to prevent that from happening within the structure of what this is. We can argue, we can debate, we can argue that point, but if that property owner says, I'm good with them protecting the border in that way, we lose our grip. We have 15 miles of city property that we're talking about, 5 parks, 3 treatment plants, 4 bridges. That's how we're walking through that. So, all right, let's keep going, and I'll keep trying to answer. But that's why I gave you my email address, because we're gonna speed up so that you can sit there. It's a little bit warm. I know that he's walking up with a microphone.
Hi guys, thank you so much, Mr. Nevitt, and everybody that keeps saying Mr. Nevitt. It's not Mr. Nevitt, it's Mr. Nevitt. Okay, guys, my name is Alejandro Navarro. The reason I'm standing over here is not because I'm for or against what you guys are doing today. I used to work at a data center. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, but not right here. I'm right here because I'm by this. Sorry, I used to be a musician, then I turned it off, and I'm a little bit nervous. By show of hands, how many people have social media? Everybody has social media. Come on, guys, pick up your hands. I believe you. Yes. Yes, I believe you. Okay, so you do have social media, but you already know where I'm going, okay? You already know where I'm going, so hold on. And I used to work at City Hall as well. Nobody important, because of course nobody remembers me unless we went to a really, really nice place where I used to hang out con el Georgie Porgy. I will not, hold on. So, if you want to exercise your right of speech, exercise your right of doing something. Yes, anybody can say, scream, and blah, blah, blah. Yes. I changed my life, that's my point. I changed my life. I went into not saying, but into doing. If you guys think that your representatives are not doing for you, then you do something, you know? Educate yourself. Yes, we're saying, right? We're saying, okay. Make an application. No, you're getting butthurt, I understand. Make an application, try and take their jobs so that you can understand what they have to go to. And wait, I'm with you guys. I'm also against data centers, okay? No, okay. Raise up your hands like you've been doing it right now. Okay, just wait your turn, guys. Just wait your turn. Wait your turn. Be respectful, okay? Anybody wants any questions, answers about data centers? There's a lot of fake news in the social media. Believe me, I work there, and whatever they're saying is not true. That doesn't mean that I'm for the data centers. I got hired, and believe me, we need that kind of revenue in Laredo. Because everybody, hold on. Let me get to where it gets. I love taking my time, so hold on. So, you're here, man, and I thank you for that. Hey, anybody that raised up your hand, as much as you're against the data center, you love it because you're posting your social media, you're doing your AI images. Yes, how else are you gonna commute? How else are you going to commute? Yes, there is an option. You're already doing it. You're here. Thank you. Yes.
That's not exactly the same.
Okay, guys, so I'm with you.
You have no idea what we've done. You haven't asked
Mucha. So, sí tenemos aguanta. Not the one that you guys want, right? If you have any questions, no voy a sentar. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm with you guys, okay? I'm with you guys. I'm also against, okay? So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Munoz. Okay, to be clear, Alejandro, we are more concerned about the AI, the data centers that are specifically for the AI and the proliferation of AI, which is more new than social media. So they're very different kind of data centers. If you're interested in more information, please come to our data center workshop where we're bringing in someone from San Antonio to tell you a lot more. We can tell you a lot more information and then also how to fight these data centers. That's not what I was going to say, but I have to say it because it's at Laredo Center for the Arts. I have a flyer, but I have a question. I live in San Marcos, Texas. I am new here, sorry. I just moved here for a policy job. I'm a policy attorney. I've done a lot of policy fights in San Marcos, San Antonio, and now Laredo. That's why I go to city council and things. In my experience fighting for a lot of different things, including things like cite and release policies, say in San Antonio, a very common sense policy that I know others have fought for here in Laredo previously. I mean this with respect, Joaquin, right? I just want to, like, often the city attorney's office isn't looking out for the interests of the people. They're more risk management officers for the city, right? And I know that's, I'm not, my question is, I feel like we're talking about a ban not being possible without knowing whether, that's not been exposed to the public. Obviously, I know executive session is the place for some conversations, but my question really is, like, is the city attorney's office the only place that we're getting a legal opinion about whether a ban is possible? Because San Marcos has not been sued yet, everyone here should know. But I don't think the time is over to hear other legal opinions, and I feel as though we're acting as though it is.
Of course, I'll always answer a question. I'll try to do it as directly as I can. So, I'm an attorney, right? So my duty, thank you, my duty is to look out for the best interests of my client, the client being the city of Laredo, the government entity, okay? A government entity that does serve you guys, all right? And there's even issues about who is that, right? Who is the client? In municipal law, it can be very complicated. But the point that I'm trying to make is, it is my job to look at the current legal landscape of this issue. And quite frankly, there's not much. So what we do, what any good lawyer will do, is belt and suspenders. Maybe not bow tie, but belt and suspenders. You want to make sure that your client is legally protected as much as possible, because if we get sued, do you know whose money is lining the pockets of the person that sues us? It's your money. So our council members have to be good stewards with your money, and we have to make sure that we don't get sued for that money. Now, you talked about San Marcos. San Marcos, they have a very novel approach to this issue. They are basically saying, come in and sue us. That's what they're saying. You also have people at the legislature who are saying that state law does not allow for this type of ban. You also have legislatures that are saying that a moratorium is not allowable, and that is opening up these cities to liability. Now, as much, I can't say whether or not for or against data centers, that's not the point, that's not my job. My job is to protect my clients from that potential liability, and one of the smarter things that we can do, and this is why Mr. Neb has been saying this since the last meeting, regulation will always be better than an outright ban, and let me tell you why. The regulation, we need to have these things in order so that when in fact our legislature, let's say tomorrow they pass a law that says data centers are legal, and we have nothing in place, every data center is going to file an application. Once they file that application, they now have a vested legal property right in that application, and we can no longer regulate them. So we are late to the party, and now we have no control over what they do with our land and our water. So that's why.
No data centers.
Okay. Okay, so that's happened before. You've actually had jurisdictions that have banned oil and gas exploration. You know what the state of Texas did to them? Passed a law that preempted that law. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is all of this advice that we are giving the city of Laredo is to protect them from liability. Sure, I can tell them, go ahead and ban it. But I wouldn't be doing my job as an attorney if I wasn't going to tell them what the legal risks are.
My question is whether there has been, I mean, because I live in San Marcos, I feel being like an active part of the anti-data center campaign tangentially there. I disagree that they're saying, come sue us. I think that they might say different. And I'm curious still, my real question is whether there has been someone else's legal opinion, because again, city, your job, as you just said, is to protect, to make sure the city is not being sued. And I've seen like Andy Segovia in San Antonio read that very, very broad, including like we can't pass sign release in San Antonio, which is a very simple law. So I guess, again, my question is, has there been other legal opinions sought? Will there be?
There have been other legal opinions sought, and I would tell you the name, but I just don't want to disparage anyone. So we talked to different city attorneys from across the state. My boss, Mr. Wynn, has relationships with attorneys across the state, including the city attorney from San Marcos. And that's why I don't want to hinder that relationship. That's why I'm not saying. But what I could say to my client, and this is what any good lawyer will do, lawyers don't tell their clients what to do. No, we tell them these are your options and these are the risks. So I could tell my counsel, go ahead and pass a ban, but more than likely you will get sued, and more than likely this will happen. And again, I'm not a robot. Sorry, bad joke. I'm not a robot, but I do look at the laws and the way they're written, and I'm trying to shelter my council, my government, your tax dollars from unnecessary liability, especially considering that, our amount of money is finite. Okay.
Very, very lastly, I appreciate that there's been other city attorneys who have advised you, but again, we're talking about city attorneys whose lens is more risk averse than say, the other side. If I'm the client, I'm not the client, but if I was, I'd like to hear, hey, this side says this, city attorneys, this side says this, percentage-wise, this is what, I'm not hearing that you've heard from other kind of policy, people that are not as risk averse as city attorneys, because we know living in the landscape of Texas, you have to be risk averse if you're in your role, I understand. But you should hear from other people, is all I'm saying.
And again, I appreciate that comment, and thank you very much. And I meant,
I'll give you my card.
And also, I took no disrespect at all from you. I thank you for the passion. Appreciate you.
Hi everyone, my name is Brianna. I've lived in Laredo and all my 20 years of living. I went to City Council the last meeting where the data center agenda item was discussed after 3 times of it being on the agenda. I get it, there's a lot of agenda items, but like, come on. And I don't have a 9 to 5, I don't have kids, and I was waiting there for 6 hours to speak. So I can't imagine people who do have kids, like have other responsibilities. I'm like, dang, like they would never be able to speak. So as frustrated as I am, thank you City Council and to the Mayor for at least doing the right thing and hosting a town hall meeting. But I do have a few things to say. First off, I don't know who's paying those few people to defend data centers, because those data centers do not care about you. Like, let's be real, most of us don't want that. Like, I don't know. It's just like they took the time out of their day to come defend data centers. Like, that's crazy. Next, someone said that we do have water. Someone said that we do have water, so then it's fine for the data centers. We don't have water for that long. We just are apparently now getting a second water source, but even then, water is not infinite. Like, it's not. In this weather too, like, y'all know that global warming is a thing, right? Like, it affects the water levels we have, you know? And so, next is, this is not an attack, you know, I'm not someone who likes to attack people, but when I went to the city council meeting last week, I believe it was city council member Rangel. He said that he didn't know what a data center is. We don't expect you to have all the answers. I understand, especially like seeing the possible effects that a data center could have on Laredo, because I'm a biology student, I'm about to graduate, so I understand environmental studies take a lot of time. But to not take a few seconds to at least Google what a data center is crazy. Like, there's no, like, I'm not saying it disrespectfully, but it takes a few seconds. Like, I'm not saying you have to know exactly all the details of how it works and like what type of, like, at least one Google search, and again, I know that there need to be studies on how it could affect Laredo, but there's plenty of other data centers that are already in place, and there's not just on social media, but online you can see the effects that the data centers have on the environment and on people and the air. So it's like, why waste the time to like do a study here in Laredo? Yes, I know it's required to even like think of planning one, but you don't need to do a study. Just look outside, look at other cities. Look how their cities are affected by data centers. You don't, like, it's just very unnecessary. And next, no, the people who are thinking, oh, like, it brings a lot, it would bring some jobs. It's not even that many. I get that the job market is really bad. Like, I couldn't even get hired as a barista, and it took months for them to even reach back. I know the job market is bad, but it's not that bad to the point where we need to create jobs to harm the environment. Like, there's so many other jobs that people can get. But again, like I said in City Council, as of mid-2026, according to CNBC, companies in the U.S. have blamed AI for around 87,000 to 140,000 job cuts. And even me, two of my friends who were medical scribes in Laredo lost their jobs to AI. Like, not even people who work in the medical field are safe. So like, it's not worth it. And whoever said, oh, we use social media, you use social media all the time. There's a difference between CPU servers and GPU servers. Those are not the same, and you would know based on the law. Like, come on. And last thing. Everyone who is frustrated, election season is coming up, just so you know. So we've been at the polls too. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to answer that. Brianna, thank you. Thank you everybody for coming out. It doesn't mean that I don't know what data center is. I do know what a data center is, but I didn't know what a data center is coming. You just explained something that I didn't know. There's two different types of data center. You say social media, I thought it was the same aspect thinking that we use water and data center. You say a CPU. What is that? How does it, remember, we're not competing. Well, give me a second. I gave you a chance to speak, and I think it's very disrespectful. Everybody has a chance to speak, all right? Give me a second. I don't understand what's the difference between using the source of water and using a CPU. You guys do understand that. You're more advanced. We come from a different generation. You guys are more advanced, and I respect that. That's why I'm asking. I don't want to take a decision without me knowing something that you're trying to explain to us. I'm 39 years old. I have a daughter same age as you, and I have 2 grandbabies. I started my life real young. Before I got my studies or whatever. I started, I'm a blue-collar guy. I worked in the oil field. I did everything I had to do to get my family, fed. I'm not educated as much as you guys are. Some of you guys got masters. Some of you guys do 2 masters. and bachelors. I decided to go to a different route. I decided to start a family at 18 years old. Like most of your families out here, that's the age I started. My life was different. I come from a background of hardworking men, from migrant workers. Now, you're blessed, and congratulations for educating yourself. Something I tell my kids, I got 2 graduates from high school, a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old. And something that I can tell you, I'm very proud of them. And they're way smarter than I am, by far. But to tell you guys that I don't know what a data center, it doesn't mean that I'm an idiot. No soy un loco, no soy un estúpido. Lo que estoy preguntando es, ¿cómo funciona? ¿Qué es lo que hace? ¿Qué es lo que va a lastimar a la gente? Eso es lo que queremos saber. ¿Qué tanta agua va a recibir la gente? ¿Qué tanto se va a gastar? Porque si así estamos agarrando poquita agua y estamos batallando, porque yo también he ido al río, soy de Santo Niño y vamos a pescar ese río y miramos lo que se baja el agua. Pero también quiero saber qué tanta agua usa. Lo que quiero saber es cómo le vamos a proteger a ustedes. Ustedes tienen una mente de cómo protegerlos, ¿está bien? Se correcta y no, la agua se defiende. La agua, lumbre, tierra es la naturaleza. Y eso se protege. So what I'm saying is this, guys, I'm not against it. I'm not a dumb person. I tell you straight out, I'm a hard-working man, but it doesn't mean because I don't know what data center or because you know the difference between what they use and it's used for. That's the difference. I want to know it's the harm it's going to do to the people. ¿Qué le va a lastimar a la gente? ¿Qué va a lastimar a mi mamá y a mi papá de 60 años? A mis tíos, el agua, ¿verdad? Es lo que estamos tratando de proteger. So, denos chance de cuidar el agua. Denos chance de no hacer esas cosas, pero denos chance también de escuchar. Porque el que no escucha no aprende, dice. Y el que no oye consejos no llega viejo. Ahí nomás se los pongo para que usted lo tenga. El que no oye consejos no llega viejo. Acuérdense de eso.
And I also want to provide at least a little defense for the council. You do know that at times it's a public meeting, right? They ask those questions at times in order to let more of the public know what that answer is. When Councilmember Rangel put that out there, he understands the basics of it, but he wanted to make sure other people understood it as well too. And every one of this council members, I mean, the mayor, half the conversations that he puts out there is to make sure that the public understands what's being talked about as well too. He may have already had that information, so I appreciate what you're saying, but I just want to make sure. Yes, this gentleman over here. Sure. Yep. And then I think
hello. Okay. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Neep, City Council, Mayor, and Representative Hickman. So, Mr. Neep, I just want to start off with saying that by talking about the data center problem, that the whole point of why everyone is here, right, or at least 90% of people, is that we don't want them. We just don't want them, okay? And we don't want there to be a protocol for it. We don't want there to be a protocol and then there's be some loophole where, you know, there's an allowance for these things to be made. And you've said repeated times throughout this town hall that there's nothing to speculate on, because there's nothing on the table. But, Mr. Neeb, isn't it your job as city manager to speculate about this problem and the rest of city council? These are questions that we all have concerns about, and there should be more urgency from you and from the rest of council to be looking into these problems, because the constituents here have a problem. So, I just want to actually have a dialogue here and say that we don't want data centers at all. And, you know, I've gotten into a little bit of trouble at City Council before, so for saying that there would be a problem, right? But the problem is here. This is the problem, Mr. Neal. The problem is that the people are not going to give up on Laredo. We're not going to give up. We don't want to bow down to billionaires, to fascists. You're talking about having to work with and negotiate with the government, Trump's administration. And Mr. Neeb, I'm sorry, but a lot of people in Trump's administration, Trump himself, they don't like us. They don't care about us. They don't care about immigrants, about the people that have lived here on the border. They couldn't care less if all of us got bulldozed so that they could make this wall. We don't want you to negotiate with them. We want you to protect us. We want you, and Mr. Neeb, no offense, but I know that you're not a Laredo native. Most Laredo natives here probably have a bigger concern about this because most Laredo natives are going to be in Laredo their entire lives. And a lot of people in council like you have the opportunity to leave. Not all of us are gifted or privileged enough with the resources or finances to be able to do that. So we just want to be heard and let you know that we're never going to give up on Laredo no matter what happens, and we'll be here every single time. I don't care what the problem is or if there is pushback, because I'm sure that there's a lot of us here that are willing to die on this hill for Laredo because we care about the city. We're never going to stop caring about the city, and we need to see input from you guys that shows us and makes us actually believe in you when you say that you are looking into protecting us and serving us.
Thank you. And I didn't have the benefit of knowing where Laredo was until I received the opportunity for the job. I consider myself an adopted son of Laredo. I will do my job for that. Now, you talked a little bit about that, taking the sense of urgency. The sense of urgency, and I appreciate exactly where you're at and what the position of this is. And I think Joaquin talked a little bit about this as well, too. If we do not prepare any type of standards, I'm happy to say, hell no, we're not doing this at all. Somebody bigger than us is going to come along and say, we're going to do this over the top of you. And that's what we're trying to prevent as well, too. I'm not saying to put something in place for that. I'm just we're gonna keep moving through this because we're gonna run out of time for even the 9 o'clock. But yes, sir. So I just wanted to make sure you understand exactly what you're talking about is what we're recommending that we get done. Let's get these standards in place. Let's make them structured so that they don't do exactly what you want. You want to see the information? Let's get the standards in place so that we can put the information out. Right now, there is nothing that we can put out there, but yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Yuri. I've been in Laredo for about like 3 years now. I'm not a public speaker, so I don't speak as eloquently as other people. I'm super nervous, but here goes. Talking about water quality, we have seen what it looks like in other cities to have these data centers. When I first got to Laredo about 3 years ago, I quickly realized how bad the water quality is already here. And a filter that's supposed to last me about 3 months only lasts me a week. So I'm already spending a ton of money on just drinking quality water. That's the bare minimum. And it's only about to get worse if we get a data center. As far as jobs go, they're likely going to, if it does get built, I don't want that. They may hire people from here to build it, but as far as the people that are work it, once it's built in a year or two, you guys will lose all the money you had coming in to get those jobs, because you're likely going to be replaced by engineers that they bring from somewhere else. I'm not the kind of engineer that can work at those facilities, so I won't be one of the ones that get hired. Neither will a lot of the people here, unfortunately. So unfortunately, those jobs are going to come from somewhere else. Yes, on paper it might look like jobs are in Laredo, but those are engineers that are coming from other cities. That's not from here. That's not for the locals, unfortunately. If they don't bring their own construction crews, I'm saying you might have jobs as construction, but that's about it. Once it's built, you're done. You're back to the next project. Noise pollution. We've seen what it looks like in other cities as far as noise pollution goes. A lot of people have had to move out, sell their homes, and just connecting those two, a lot of people have had trouble selling those homes because of property values being decreased. And unfortunately, a lot of the people here, the people that can't afford to move will leave, and those who can't will stay here to suffer. I'm sorry, but that's the reality of living in a town that's gonna have a data center. So my last point being, look around. The people here clearly don't want a data center. If you can't say no, say no. If you have to set up regulations to make it absolutely impossible for it to happen, get to work and do it. So that's about it.
everybody's got my email and everything, right? So you can reach out. The survey will come out on Friday as well too. What I'm gonna do is just speed it up so everybody can get out of here if they're ready to go. I'm happy to keep talking if you want, but let's go through. Please, everybody else that wants to say something, let's walk through that before we lose everybody, and then we'll kind of just pass that information through. I've already covered the housekeeping stuff that I wanted to make sure I did. So, ma'am, and then we'll. All right, yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. Alberto Bajardo here. Sorry, I was going to drink water, but we ran out. Ironic. I want to start by asking, do y'all know what the most profitable product of the 21st century is? It's not water, right? That's the most precious. The most profitable product is data. Data that gets sold to the highest bidder. We are discussing the possibility of building a bank that takes from us, sells it, and shares none of the profit.
Exactly.
The discussion shouldn't be about water and power. As an engineer, I can tell you that will be fixed. Capitalism, progress, moves on. The issue is that data will be used against us. Your data too, council members. This goes in hand with the flock cameras. A data center would invite more cameras, more surveillance, more data for profit. This infrastructure is happening as we speak. The data center is the keystone. The flock cameras are up. They're laying miles upon miles of fiber optics too. This will become an Orwellian surveillance state. Please, City Council, most importantly, heed my warning. Mayor, as well, heed my warning. Data and surveillance will absolutely be used against you, especially you, politicians. You are a target as a public figure for political adversaries and advocates alike. These cameras have been hacked before, if you didn't know that. The data has already been abused. It's not a question of will it be abused. It has been abused.
That's right.
It has failed us, and it will fail you.
Yes.
This meeting is clearly, to me, a formality. The decision has clearly been made. But you, City Council, still have time to move back on that.
Yes.
Show us that you're not an enemy of our community.
Exactly.
Know that the youth is watching. More than just the ones here, they're all watching. They will support you or replace you. Your choice. Remember, society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in. Y'all are knocking down trees instead to build your private cabañas, leaving no shade for the future. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Desiree Bettis, and I'm here today because I'm concerned about my community. I'm especially concerned because it seems that our city representatives have forgotten what their job is to do. Their job is to advocate for this city and for this community. I have attended the last 2 city council meetings to share my concerns on this topic, and both times was not permitted to speak. 2 weeks ago, I waited until about 9 p.m. before I had to leave, and several friends and community members I know waited for 2 more hours, and they didn't even all get to speak. 1 week ago, I showed up again, and the e-form I submitted for public comment was lost. I was not given an exception or an opportunity to speak, even though I did my part. My understanding is that this was not the first time this happened either. I'm disabled. Showing up is not easy. For all of our communities, showing up is not always easy. We work, we're parents, we have our own life things going on. I understand that you all have many agenda items to go over, but when your constituents show up because we as a community feel there is something worth showing up for, we should receive priority.
That's right.
Now to what I've been waiting to say for 2 weeks. I am against data centers being built in Webb County because they will detrimentally affect the physical and financial health of Laredo and Webb County citizens. This project will cause a cost increase for home energy consumers. Data centers historically have not paid their fair share utilities, particularly for water and electricity consumption. And in those situations, other consumers, especially residential customers, have had to pay more than they otherwise would. Data centers do not pay their fair share, and the price for the common household goes up because of the need of water and additional power plants to support the data center's energy needs. This project will cause air pollution. Data centers, especially gas-powered data centers, emit significant pollutants such as nitrogen oxides, methane, volatile organic compounds, and fine particulate matter. There are also additional emissions and air pollution coming from power plants due to the increased energy needs for electricity to power these data centers. According to a September 2025 study, these pollutants increase rates of respiratory disease and cardiovascular conditions, and they elevate cancer risks among nearby communities. This would pose a particular risk to Laredo and the Webb County community because we already experience high exposure to air pollutants due to the high concentration of emissions released in our area by the trailers that travel through Laredo for import-export trade that our community's economy relies on. Data centers also increase environmental electromagnetic fields, or EMF levels. EMFs are linked to cancer increases, miscarriage, Alzheimer's, and other health impacts. Data centers also increase forever chemicals, particularly PFAS. Data centers impact water availability and quality by increasing toxic contaminants. And these are just to name a few of the health concerns related to data centers. The price of bringing data centers to Webb County is endangering our community's financial and physical health. And no, I did not use ChatGPT to write this. The price of bringing data centers to Webb County is to endanger our community's financial and physical health. My question to you is, are you willing to pay that price? Is the city of Laredo willing to put our community's health at risk? I've heard mentions of exploring greener data centers like closed-loop data centers and direct-to-chip cooling centers. These both semi-address the water use concerns, although it's really just greenwashing, and they're really not much better than the bad ones. But what is your specific plan to protect our community's air quality and health? What will it take? What do we have to do to get the city of Laredo to put it in writing and take a note that they will fight any future data center plans in Laredo and Webb County? If law is too much of a liability, an oath is okay for now, because your community and your constituents are demanding this of you.
Hi, I'll be brief. To quote you, and I do it respectfully, you keep bringing up the term "the next big thing," and at several of these meetings, I've seen, mothers-to-be or very recent mothers show up and explain how concerned they are. And I think the next big thing is clearly just a livable place, a good place, and anyway, that's all I want to say. Thank
you. I'd like to start out saying I'm a Christian, and that I have three things to say. I have a statement, an observation, a question. So my first statement is that you guys know Texas has the right to capture, meaning you can take as much water as you want. If you have a well, you can basically empty the aquifer. So that's my statement. And my observation is that ever since the death of Charlie Kirk, there's something called the Great Noticing. I've been seeing it more on Instagram, so I want to kind of like bridge the gap between the older generation to like the younger generation. I'm 30, so I'm kind of like in the middle. So Charlie Kirk was really against Israel, really against the war in Iran, what's going on, and the whole thing about sending troops over there, getting involved, and that kind of caused a lot of people to start looking into where's our money going, right? Who owns the CDC? Who owns the CIA? Who owns the FBI? And people no longer trust the FBI or the CIA, and most people, I think, in my age group, kind of feel that Israel owns everything, and that we're currently occupied by Israel. So I'm just kind of giving an observation on this, and in case you guys haven't heard it, civil war. I think we're on the dawn of civil war here because we no longer feel safe in America. We have these data centers, we have block cameras. The data centers are obviously for surveillance. We have cameras popping up like crazy, and nothing we say apparently matters. So I just want to let that kind of push on to the older generation, because on Instagram, that's kind of what's getting flooded. Like I'm mostly looking at ducks on Instagram, looking at gardening, and it's just like nonstop stuff about World War II, Israel, 9/11, Mossad, Charlie Kirk's assassination, whether it was a 30-06 or the microphone blowing up. So nobody trusts the government anymore at all. So that being said, here's my question. So I've been hearing a lot of rumors of militias growing in Laredo, that apparently nobody's happy here. Now the militias tend to be about military-age men, and I'm hearing like thousands of people are kind of like organizing this. So my question is, if this data center gets built, is there like a plan, is there like a group, right, like a task force to kind of like stop a militia from destroying a data center? Because I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think a group of people, man, would just group together, organize, and basically destroy the data centers. Because, you know, the alternative is just starving, right? We'll just starve without water. Like, we can't grow animals, we can't grow crops, we can't garden, and it's being poisoned also. There's heavy metals in there. So it's pretty much as dire as it gets. You know, we got zero trust in the FBI, in the CIA, in the FDA, in the CDC after COVID. There's no more trust in any government institution, and we're all just here kind of just terrified, like, how do we move forward from this? There's no more trust in the government. We feel that it's pretty much just Israel at this point, and if they're gonna allow us to talk about this on Instagram without being suicided by ourselves, the meme goes, they're gonna sack us. They're gonna just destroy America, and I think part of it is poisoning the water supply and putting heavy metals in there. So as they fight us, you know, we're a lot more docile to them. We can't group up. We're a lot more hobbled, crippled to do something about their invasion, their occupation. So that's my question. Is there any kind of like anti-militia group that would stop maybe thousands of young adult men who are military age to stop that? Because asking around, like, nobody wants to join the army, the military, the Marines. Nobody has faith, because we all just expect we're going to go to to Iran and fight for them. So as a closing statement, I would like to quote the Bible. Sorry, Christian, you know, a lot of you are Christian. It's 1 Kings 18:40. Seize the prophets of all, let none of them escape. Seize them. Elijah seized them, brought them to the valley to be slaughtered. That's it.
All right. My name is Jacob Paulson. My parents moved from Nebraska here in '87 to be teachers, and I did want to address like the comment about data centers and education. I worked for a virtual school for a few years after working at United South for a few years as well. The school was a corporation that had some sort of legal loophole to basically masquerade as a public school, and that's at the state of Texas level. And they used AI heavily for grading. They used AI heavily for making the content. It was basically like scamming the state of Texas in order to pretend to educate these students. I had over 2,000 students at one point in a semester. And so, yeah, I just want that out there as far as data centers being some positive thing, just the advancement of technology. I agree it's the advancement of technology. I'm not saying that technology can't advance. I'm not trying to make a Luddite argument, but there needs to be things in place so that we're not just saying, oh, technology is this automatic great thing. As he just shared, right, like we have primal concerns about how this technology is being used. If there's an advanced technology that's only in the hands of a few people, like that's concerning for us as citizens, especially when we hear that it's poisoning water, when we hear that it's poisoning the air with like the sound waves and things like that. I will email specifics about how we can address things, because I do agree, everybody here wants it banned essentially. So if the city hall, if the city council isn't going to put very strict regulations that are making it seem like Laredo isn't the place to build one, which it already isn't. Like scientifically, we're very hot. It makes no sense. But there should be some sort of like the water bill should be exponentially priced instead of level, or I don't know exactly how it is, right? But there could be more pressure there. Essentially, I agree that there is a lot of lack of trust in the city. Everybody already kind of shared their stories about it, but I just wanted to re-emphasize that, because for me, my parents are very docile. They love everything going on. They're just happy people that are just here to help Laredo and be good people. But I've become personally more and more concerned with how the city is run, and just concerned with are we just looking the other way with corruption? There's a huge history of it if you look into the history of Laredo for corruption. And so me personally, I'm trying to navigate it, right? I'm trying to figure out what's going on with city council, what's going on with, how does all this work? Do I need to run against these people? Is that where I'm going? And I don't want to be clear, but I will. That's the thing. I loved my students. I love Laredo. It is my home. I was born here at Mercy. And yeah, just different things where I'm trying to contact people in the city. I'm trying to contact state representatives. I'm not getting responses back. Where I'm saying concerning things, and I'm not getting responses back. And so that's where, when we have a discussion and we're trying to have a thing, and the guys are saying, oh, we ran out of time, even though 100 people signed up for a comment, that's where it just seems and I'm not threatening, I'm just trying to make an observation, because I don't know you guys, your positions, I don't know any of this type of stuff. I'm just saying it's a bad look. For me, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm concerned for you guys. I don't somebody else said, elections coming up soon, and I'm just trying to emphasize that take actions now so that we see that you hear us, because if not, we're going to organize against you, and that's just not even me, right? Everybody else is already doing it. I'm just a part of
I appreciate everybody's time, and I know it's getting late. The city has hired consultants after we have issues. We bring in a consultant after the water issue. Where are we on bringing consultants in to get ahead of the game? We're not the first city in Texas that is being approached by a data center. There's much to be learned from other cities that have already been approached, that have already been proposed contracts to build data centers. Where are we on hiring somebody outside? I mean, you guys are busy in running the city. You're not experts in data center. Where are we on investing money to get advice, pros and cons, based on what they have seen throughout the state of Texas, to consult us in making the best decision possible on writing up the best, I forget what the terminology is, to defend us or protect us, so that we are in the best legal position. Data centers are here. They're here. We use data every single moment of the day, whether we realize it or not. But what are we doing to get ahead of that?
Really quickly, this meeting is a part of it. This survey will be a part of it as well too, because we want all the voices being said.
Where's the expert?
No, they will be coming in. They will be part of this conversation. What I'm saying is that we're at the beginning stage of going through it. That's why we're here today.
But we know we have an issue, so why bring the consultants in after the fact instead of as a
I appreciate what you're saying. That is part of the step that we have to go through. That's all I'm saying.
So where are the consultants in the steps?
They have to come in, and just so you know, consultants are good for expert types of opinions, right? But I guarantee you they don't have the heart of Laredo. We have to incorporate the heart and the work from that as well. So, but yeah, it's coming. And,
it can't be after the
yes,
fact.
sir.
We need to get it ahead of it.
Yes, sir.
Hello, I hope everyone's having a good afternoon. I wish we could be here under better circumstances, but I'm happy to see that so many people came out to show their standing. I'd like to direct a statement towards Mr. Councilman. I understand coming from a different generation that didn't grow up with this, but you are an elected official, and that comes with the responsibility to speak in the favor of your constituents. Bree over here is 20, doesn't get paid for this, and is more educated and almost assumed to educate you. You are obligated to do the research, to do the homework, to keep us safe. Mr. Need, you have said that we are going to get bulldozed. Now, sure, under that framework that you have claimed, sure, but you have already bulldozed our option to decide if we want a data center or not. Your money interest has pushed us in a direction that we are forced to say yes to this data center without having the clear choice of if we're going to have it or not. Sorry, I'm incredibly nervous. This goes to the rest of the council members. We, along with being bulldozed, we want fighters. We don't need people that are going to submit to, oh, well, we can say yes to this and kind of keep it controlled. No, we need an out front no, and we need people to fight for that. And to my city council members, you need to understand that when you turn your back on Laredo, Laredo will remember this. And please expect the same when you're running for re-election. Thank you.
Hello? Great. So my name's Rihanna Rain. I've been here since 5:35. I have no patience and I offer you no empty platitudes because they're useless in this point. We come here with questions and comments and concerns and grievances, and I'm going to tell you that I grieve for this city of Laredo. Every single time I look around, it looks like there's another issue. We have the wall, we have flood cameras, we have our failing water system, and now we have data centers to worry about. And it's so frustrating because I'm 21. I have school. I'm trying to get my degree. Why do I have to be the one to come here and say, yeah, no, we don't want these things. Thank you so much for worrying about us. And to have to educate other people on the matters that we are worried about. I didn't even write anything down for what I was going to say because I wasn't hoping that I would have to say things. We come here because you say you want us to tell you what we want you to safeguard us against. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a politician. If I wanted the position, I would have run for it. Maybe I will have to at this point. Because when you're put inside of the positions that you're put in, your job is, and you said it yourself, that you get the information and you give it to the city council members so that they know what they're doing. And you take the meeting so that people can tell you what they want. When we ask you a question of, well, what did the meeting say? We don't want your job description. We want what did the people who went to the meeting say. Okay, they wanted to know what they had to do to get a data center, but we have no confirmation of data centers. When someone says, hey, what does it take for me to build a restaurant? It means they want to build a restaurant. When someone says, what does it take for me to attract people who have the data center money to use my land to build data center? Crazy as it may be, and let me connect some really far away dots for you. You know, AI, actual intelligence here, it means they want the data center. Crazy, crazy concept, crazy, I know. So when you hear people say, I want a data center, implicitly, because they didn't tell you, they didn't bring you the paperwork saying, this is our plan, so you can critique it, they said, I'm in secret talks with people who want to give me money to build data centers. What does it take for me to make sure that this goes through? It means that you have the responsibility to say, I'll look into it for you, and then turn around and say, we know the people don't want data centers. How can we make this absolutely difficult for them? We say, we want you to ban data centers. We don't want any data centers at all. And you say, well, we can't actually ban them because we're probably going to get sued. And if we get sued, then that means your money's in danger. Okay, so your job then is to say, but what we can do is X, Y, and Z. We can put sensors so close to the data center that the moment they do anything, it'll go off, and then we can say, no, you can't do it anymore, bye. You can say, the moment you use any water that is meant for residents, that we're gonna make you leave, okay, bye. The moment you use a contractor not from Laredo, we're gonna make you leave, okay, bye. You know, and I shouldn't have to be the one to bring up all these different examples, Your job is to say, we are going to do our best to make it absolutely impossible for them to do so, because apparently legally they can totally do whatever they want, because they have the money and they have the green pockets. Instead, we have to come here, and while we're doing a little town hall, telling you our opinions and telling you, no, we're terrified that I'm not going to have drinking water should I ever want to have children one day, which I can't even actually, because I'm probably going to get cancer before I'm 30, judging by our own environment and my actual freaking genetics. Now I have to also come into a town hall and talk about all these issues, and all of these people are here for literal hours talking about all these issues, when behind closed doors, that of course we can't have it recorded, because legally they don't have to record the conversation. If you're in the conversation, you can say, hey, can I record this? And then they'll be more weary about what they say. We are here talking about these issues while behind closed doors, the landowners that you're not willing to identify to us because you know that we'll tell them, please don't do this, and instead of letting us, push forward and telling them that what they're doing will harm the people that they live around, you want to protect them because I wonder why yes. They're having those conversations right now with the people who want to put in the data centers, who want to give them money to use their land, because yes, you have land and you want it to be put to good use. It's entirely possible for us to say, hey, wouldn't you like to use this land for small businesses, for public space, for us to have a livable, breathable, green city that people can actually walk down the street and not have a sidewalk that disappears halfway. Instead, we're here talking to you about issues that are already being worked on behind our backs. And we know that this is true. This isn't some conspiracy theory. This isn't, oh my God, the visions, they told me that they're talking behind my back. No. We know these conversations are happening because we have proof. We have somebody who's told us themselves. People with data center money came and said, we want data centers, and I had to tell them no. We should have the city telling them, making it so unattractive for data center money to be here, because anybody, and I'm gonna turn around because you should hear this too. Anybody who says that AI and data centers are inevitable are telling you that they're fearful of your power. Because nothing in the world is inevitable except for global warming at this point, because we're so far into messing ourselves over, forgive me for little ears, that we are constantly panicked that there is no turning back. But there is, because every single time we inch a little closer to that doomsday clock, the scientists, our beautiful scientists, they tell us, hey, we can do something different, and we say, oh my God, no, we can't do anything. It looks like we just have to keep going and keep falling down the hill and keep burning our city alive, when we can be actively making change. And I'm really going off topic here. I have so many things that I thought about saying, but I didn't write any of them down. It's frustrating, obviously, right? Look at me. I probably read. It's so frustrating that I have to move away from the work that I want to do. I want to be organizing about making sure people have menstrual resources, for God's sake. I don't want to have to be worrying that my data is going to be stolen by some larger entity who's going to sell it off so that my insurance premiums go up because, God forbid, a girl has Lynch syndrome. I have to worry that if I'm driving around, a camera is going to clock my license plate and decide, she's driving a little suspiciously, and then get mad at me for it. I'm just a girl. I've never hit a curb in my life. And so many people here, and I'm so sorry for taking so long, so many people here have these equal fears, and we shouldn't have to tell you, yes, we want you to ensure that they have the highest possible accountability to account to. We don't want it to be just the city they have to be accountable for. We want to have multiple different entities that they have to be accountable for, because when they have big data center money, it means they have money to give to the people who are supposed to hold them accountable to ensure that these things go away. I mean, just look at Houston. We've seen the damage that they've done. Just look at Brownsville. I mean, Corpus Christi is out of water. If we're allowing these people to look at Laredo and even have the idea that, well, they're taking so long to say that they don't want this at all, maybe it's because they kind of do want it. You know, I mean, when we told you, hey, tell the nation that we don't want a border wall in our community because this is our land, and no, make sure we don't have a wall, you guys were like, actually, there's like nothing we can do about it. because they said that there's nothing we can do about it. If you don't stand up and say, I'm gonna fight you every step of the then they're going to continue pushing and pushing and pushing, and I said it at that city council meeting, if you give the mouse a cookie, he's gonna keep frickin' taking. If we let them take even a step forward into conceptualizing a plan, into even thinking about writing down a cute little contract for us to later look at and dissect, we're letting them know that we're open to having to even look at a contract. We should make it impossible, and that is why we are here, to tell you we want you to ban it. We want you to make it no green data center, no AI data center, no social media data center, no itty bitty data center, no great big data center, no nothing center, nothing. Because if you say yes, the tiniest thing to, yes, I'll listen to you all about your cute little contract, about how you're gonna give me $1 million and you're gonna bring 50 jobs for the people of Laredo, yippee! Even though all of the people of Laredo are now paying $2,000 to $3,000 more in electricity bills, which 50 jobs ain't gonna cover. Let me tell you, it sucks to have to be the one to say, please don't kill us. And it sucks to have gorgeous people come in with the most beautiful plans already laid out in paper, hand you the pamphlet, I saw that happen, and come in to say these things are important and you should know what this topic is, when our city council members are paid more than most full-time people in Laredo. I'm sorry, my mom has almost a decade worth of experience at LC and still she makes less than the city council, who's a part-time position? Because they're part-time, they don't have to be there 24/7 and they get paid for their gas to go from work to home because they have a home office, but also they're not educated on the topics that they're supposed to be educated about, and also they don't even know like what's coming into the city. And there's this thing about priorities where when you see a lot of people care, it goes up on the list. So when you see a lot of people sign up, it goes up on the list. And I understand things take a really long time and you have so many things that you need to get through and these things have been pushed off down and down and down. But there's still a reorganization of things to ensure that the things that need to be spoken about are spoken about. And when we take action, I remember once upon a time we had a gorgeous petition against actions taken by our city council. And when we showed up and they're like, I don't see a physical signature here, so I don't think this is real, brother. It's not true. Wow, technology, it's so important. And oh my God, technology is growing and so we need all of these resources to make sure that it continues to grow. We've grown so well without it. We will continue to grow incredibly well with what technology we have now. And if we allow them to take these shortcuts and utilize our resources for the benefit of technology, they will never take the time to make their technology more beneficial for us.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm actually only here today because I've noticed a lot of things wrong with Laredo recently, and then on top of that, I hear about a possible data center. So I understand that you want to put restrictions on what a data center could be, because I know it won't be banned. All these people are saying that they want it to be banned, but I know that the town hall meetings are only so people can feel that they're heard. But I really hope that you and the city council take into consideration not only all the people in this room that don't want data centers, but also all the people of Laredo who will be affected by the data centers, who don't want the data centers, and who could not be here today. There are a lot of people there's a lot of elderly people who don't know what a data center is. There's a lot of people who don't know the harmful effects of data centers. I feel that before you put out your survey, you should put out some resource guides and information on data centers. Because a lot of people, my mom, in fact, personally did not know the effects of data centers. I had to inform her. And she sees a lot of things on the internet and she didn't see that. So a lot of people think that they may be informed, but they don't see everything. I know I don't see everything. There's a lot of things that people don't know.
But I feel that there are a lot of issues with Laredo. We don't have water. We don't have money for our schools. We have to take out a loan. Now we have these flood cameras. So in addition to the data center town hall that we have today, I'm also hoping that there will be a town hall on the flood cameras. And I'm hoping that there will be reformed guidelines on those because I don't think anybody here wants them either. I feel like they go hand in hand since they are used with AI. There's been a lot of harmful effects of the flood cameras, people being stalked by officials who have access to them. There's been just a lot of issues, and I feel like they were just put in place without the authorization of the people, like how we're having this town hall today before the possibility of a data center. It would have been nice to have some public input before the flood cameras were set in place.
Okay, I'll make it short. It's unfortunate that I have to get through you and the council members through money, and because it seems after not just like 2 council meetings, but this one, that you all do not care about the citizens of Laredo. There's no transparency, and there is you're not telling us what is going on. But I'll tell you a short story. I think it was fall 2024, I was working at Olive Garden, and that was when the E. coli water stuff was going on. It was really gross. I had to find that out while I was working, and that week was hell. And the only reason I'm talking about that right now is because what's gonna happen when the water is gone? If you guys do greenlight a data center, what are you gonna do? I think the first thing you're gonna think about is business. Because I've heard constantly, oh, well, there's no business because there's issues with the water. There's issues with business because of zoning. There's issues, but mainly because of water. So what are you gonna do if there's no water? You guys care about businesses. Data centers is not the way to make more revenue or to have a better economy. Invest in your people. We have a university for a reason. We have people that are professionals, so invest in them and invest in this city instead of investing in a data center, because that's not going to get us anywhere.
I didn't think I was going to speak at all, but I'm just really frustrated with everything going on. Talking about the plot cameras, talking about the data centers, and all these other issues in Laredo. Our streets, they're terrible. I mean, some people's cars get banged up. Like my friend here, her car got banged up because of a pothole. Like that's where our tax dollars should be going. And I also wanted to talk about the businesses and stuff. If we are gonna put a data center, I think you mentioned outside of city limits, those people who live there are farmers. And if we put a data center there, there's been activity of cows having stillbirths because of the data centers. Bees are dying. How are we supposed to live if there's no food and water in Laredo? Like, we're so small. And there's just there's so many issues, like right now, like, it's gone. But that's just really what I want to talk about.
I understand you have to set regulations, set standards, that's the gist of it. You can't just say no, you can't just ban them, but set the standards for them to be impossible to resist. I don't understand why it should be so hard. We're here doing our part, telling you the environmental, the surveillance state concerns. We're doing everything on our part to let you know what you should do. Make them just set the standards higher. You're saying, we're gonna have to do this, we're gonna have to do this. Just set the standards higher. If that's the only thing you can do right now, you can't ban them, just set the regulations higher. Make it impossible. And when should we know about these regulations? When are they gonna be talked about?
They'll be coming forward. The survey is the first step within that process, just so you know. We want to bring all that opinions in there, because we can bring in the consultants, we can bring in all the different pieces of this thing.
Okay, and where does the survey go?
Models out there to draw from. So the survey is the first point. This is where the public voice gets heard within the structure. Once it comes to the table at the council, then you get another chance at it, because there has to be a public hearing, there has to be all this conversation. So it's all coming forward. Just can't happen all in one night. That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah. All right, thank you. So it is all
The
coming.
survey says it's been out since April, so where is that?
No, the survey's not out.
It says survey starts April 14,
It
2026.
should be August, and it should be August,
What do you have to say? I have to make comments.
it should be August. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, my name is Cesar Caballero. I've been living in Laredo for 40 years now. I know Mr. Mayor Trevino asked for us to trust on whatever y'all are doing and the votes for elected officials. I mean, how can you even trust when we already told you we don't want the buoys? You did it. Everybody's concerned about the water, right? It's poisoning our river. We're violating international treaties with the border wall, because we're not supposed to be building in floodplains. So just in Mexico, we're violating that treaty too. We don't want flood cameras. We're being surveilled anyway. We don't want the data centers. We can't do anything about it. A lot of people have talked about the repercussions of the data centers. I know that, of course, it's going to drown our rivers, it's going to pollute them, it harms the environment, it causes reproductive issues as well. But what I haven't heard anybody talked about is the microclimate that these data centers create. The emissions, the heat emissions that these data centers create increases the temperature from an average of I think it's 16 degrees Fahrenheit. So for example, if we were to build the data center and we were hitting, just checked in 2023, what's called the highest level of the degree that we hit was 115. If we would build a data center, we will be hitting 130. Like, how are you going to protect us from that? I understand it's going to be like outside of the city limits, but it's still going to affect ranchers, it's going to affect wildlife, and that has also a degree of radius where it's going to affect other areas as well. As it is, we're already cooking in Laredo because you're all chopping every single tree that you can and just putting cement. We can even walk our streets because there's no trees, there's no shade. And then you're gonna add a data center? Like, what are we doing here? And then people over there, like the congressmen, they're the ones that are making decisions. Is he not even informed? Like, how can we trust you all in that? He's very proud of like, yeah, we're gonna make decisions and stuff, but like, he's not even informed on the items, and we as constituents have to go and inform them when we're not even listening. We go and show up and you're like cutting us off, like, what are you all doing? That's exactly what we don't trust any of you. And you're over there, Mayor, laughing? How dare you? How dare you?
Good evening, my name is Edward Martinez. Just really quick on this data center standards for the people who are still here. I think on our survey online, I think we can probably already hear our feedback. Definitely not using any of our natural resources. That's our #1 priority. And I hope council member, I hope the mayor is listening. We definitely don't want these data centers here, and we definitely don't want them using our natural resources. Also, as far as standards, don't give them any tax exemptions. On the contrary, tell them that we're going to tax the shit out of them if they come to our city. We don't want them here, and those are the type of regulations that we want, and that's how we keep them out. We make them not enticing at all. Tax the shit out of them, and just tell them they're not allowed to use our natural resources. Thank you.
I just want to say something really quick. Obviously, as a mother, I want to do the best I can to protect my kids. And when I saw this today, it scares me a lot. Like, it feels horribly that my kids could be in danger one day, and other kids also. And I just want you to do your job as also as a mother. I mean, do a great job, like protect us. That's what I'm asking.
I just wanted to say I was at city council meetings before, at least the one where I wanted to speak, but I couldn't because we passed the time. I'm not a good speaker, but I just want to emphasize that we are citizens of Laredo. We care about Laredo, we care about the water, we care about our energy, and we want our city council elected officers and mayor to care about that too. We don't want you guys to take like a handout. We don't want you to profit. We want the whole city to profit. We want no data centers. Well, I know we can't ban them from what everyone has said. I would prefer at least a lot of transparency with the codes that you guys are going to make, the standards, as much as public feedback as you can receive in it and consider. I just want that to be known, and I just want, I want this to be considered whenever you make these standards, whenever you consider the environmental, impact data centers have on Laredo or could have on Laredo, and what it could have on an effect on us in whole.
I'm going to move up to the front.
My name is Genesis. I come from work. As you can see on my scrubs, I got out at 6:30. The meeting started at 6. I still came here, did my part, and everything. Social media is working, guys. Whatever the guy said earlier, bullshit. It's bullshit. She proved it earlier. There's a difference, okay? Social media is working. Tell all your friends. Don't be scared of telling your friends. Go to these meetings. As young as we are right now, it is very important. It is going to be our plan in the future. These people are not going to be here. They're not going to be here. It is very important that you get into those voting polls, because I voted for Dr. Trevino, respect, because I thought you cared for people. You're a doctor. You took an oath. You took an oath. And I still believe in you. I really do. I don't want to imagine there's a doctor and they're thinking of causing harm, especially when there's results. There's so many results. And I know I'm not also that educated in the data centers and everything like that. I'm not very well spoken either, but I'm very concerned. I came from work. I'm shaking right now. And from all the discussions, I understand there has to be a legal way. There's precautions that we have to take before you guys say yes or no, whatever. I understand, but there's, I was gonna say really sorry. There was a bunch of people saying that they don't own that, there's a bunch of citizens here. Oh, sorry. There's a bunch of neighbors, citizens, mothers. Thank you for standing up. I can't imagine my mom coming here with her broken English, trying to defend, because I know my mother will. But if not her, I'm here. I'm here for my family, for my local neighbors where I live, where they come to our house and they're old neighbors, they're older people. The lady I live with cannot stand up by themselves, and she sometimes falls. We have to take care of them, especially those older people that don't understand what is going on here. That they cannot come here and understand what you guys are trying to do. It is very upsetting, and I'm shaking because I'm very upset. I'm so upset that as much as you want to see there's transparency, there is not, unfortunately. And it's so sad that you're trying to say, we're here for you. You voted for us, and we're gonna fix everything. You haven't fixed any of the roads, okay? The only roads I saw fixed was the ones on North, okay? Like every time I pass by, because I work North, I live by like central, southeast areas, and there's still potholes that I remember when I moved in from that in 2017. It's 2026, and they're still there. There's complaints about it and everything as well, but there's no change, unfortunately. Why did we vote for you guys for if we're not seeing any progress? There's music complaints, and I understand there is an agenda. There's 1,000 problems that we have to go through. I understand that. But this data center is gonna add to it, and then it's just gonna go to the point where
it's impossible to convince you, to make us ourselves be heard that we don't want it. And I'm just gonna send it. I'm a citizen, I am a neighbor, I lived here in Laredo for 23 years. I don't plan to leave anytime soon because I do plan on going back to school and everything. But I want change, okay? And I'll keep going to these meetings. I don't care. If I have to stay here, if the meeting ends like at 12, I don't care. You guys have things to do, I don't. I have the privilege to come to these meetings. A bunch of other people don't, unfortunately, because they have other things to do. And they're upset as well. So just, again, hopefully there's change soon. If they see there's going to be more transparency, you're going to have to see, right?
I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna move up to the front. Now, let me defend our elected officials that are here. They sat through 3 hours with us. They sat here and listened to every one of you. They were, no, it's my turn now. I mean, they were accused of certain things. There are certain things I understand that you're very passionate about. I'm telling you that they were giving you a way through in order to have your voices heard. I talked about it early on. 260,000 people in this city. We have 150 people in this room. We have voices out there that have not been heard yet. We have to hear all those voices as well too. And you're entitled to your positions. You're entitled to that. We had people that were here. There was the few of them that were here. A couple of them spoke in favor. We didn't treat them very well, but that's okay. The whole thing is,
What was the ratio?
that's
3 against. How many?
in this room today. In this room today. And so all I'm saying is that, and I've already told you what my job is. I've already told you what these council members' jobs are. I know the mayor's going to say some things. We're going to actually end it now. But the survey will be out this Friday. I love the idea of adding at least some pieces on the front side to explain what we're doing so that we don't run into a position where we say, what is the data center? What are we actually looking at? What is happening? Just so you know, the city is not building the data center. We didn't ask for it to come knocking on our door. We didn't ask for the border wall to come knocking on our door. We have to deal with it. I appreciate the thought that's going, I would rather do other things. I would rather spend a lot of time fixing roads. We have 900 miles of streets out there that need to be repaired. We have a $60 million budget for CIP, the Capital Improvement Plan, in order to commit to it. We asked for the public health in 2025 through a bond referendum because we have more needs out there. We keep talking about this stuff. Please understand that, and please keep speaking your position. I'm not telling you to stop speaking your position. Please bring it forward. But all these people, and you as well, took time out of your day to come here and have these conversations. Thank you. Thank you for that. I'm here to hear that as well too. I'm here to try to walk through all of this as well too. I have an obligation for how the job has to be done. I'm going to do that as best I can. Your voices are going to be heard. I can't guarantee. I mean, it's just like this council. 9 council members with the mayor. They don't always agree with a decision. That's why we have split votes. That's why we have the democracy that we have in order to bring that forward. So please understand, we take in all voices. We take in all voices. That doesn't mean that the decision is made because it's made there. But I'll guarantee you, every one of these elected officials up here can tell you why they voted for something and why it was done. And that's going to be the thing that's going to happen. Mayor?
Call an excuse.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. And no, I wasn't laughing. I'm the one that called this meeting. So these meetings are important to hear the voices of the people. Sometimes we don't have time at city council, time is constrained, but we're wanting to do more of these city hall meetings. Another thing is that as long as I'm mayor, there will not be any data centers. You can mark my words. So this is something I will run on. There will not be any data centers because we don't have enough water. Simple as that. No water, no data centers. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Everybody have a good evening.